My little EFB screen here because I forgot my iPad Pro 12.9 bigger screen. So,
Okay.
yeah.
No swearing. We're live. Hi, everybody. Hi, everybody in the world of aviation fan geekery. Now, if anyone takes a screenshot and tries to pitch up at Farnborough with the golden ticket with my face in the middle of it, it won't work.
You don't need any special tickets if you're going to come to the one on the U.S. side. Just saying.
That's true, actually. Yeah, we have very restricted seating, and we're down to the last 5 now. Actually, we're fitting in a few more than I expected. We would have been full by my first count, but we managed to find room for once they have shifted this vast pile of records all about dirigibles and airships and stuff. We'll be able to fit another bunch of seats in. But I think Micah, if they let him amongst those, would just have a field day. Seats in, but I think Micah, if they let him amongst those. What's happened with that? What's going on?
That was the audio from the.
That was a repeat of what I just said. Just messing about. He's got a funny grin on his face.
It's a glitch in the. It's a glitch in the Matrix.
Yes, right. The black cat. Oh, I've just seen a black cat.
I've
just seen another one.
Oh no, was it the same black cat? The exact same black cat.
Yeah. I don't know. It was a black cat. Boom, ba-dum, boom. Right. So somebody did a rescue. That's a big story. I'll let Jeff read that. Getting to know us. Right. Oh, look, pictures of Jeff having, nice plate of food. Has it all gone quiet? Oh, Steph's muted, that's why.
No, yes. I muted myself, so there's so much background noise. Also, I was sending you text messages with information.
I got your message.
Yeah. Okay.
In today's episode.
It probably gets a lot louder when I unmute myself, doesn't it? Background noise-wise, or not too bad still.
It's just still okay. Be nicer if you had a decent mic. Were you using your headset?
No, it doesn't. It doesn't have one. I don't have headphones with a.
Which mic are you using then?
Just the computer.
Oh, okay. Well, it's
so
not doing a bad job.
Well, it's also a brand new computer, so maybe they've improved the.
Is it a new Mac? Because they've supposed to have this new clever isolation system built in.
It is indeed.
Have you turned it on?
I have no idea how that works.
I don't know either because I haven't got it on mine.
I'll have to do some research on it, I suppose.
Mm-hmm. Right. Who's in the chat room? Oh, excuse me. Apparently the great Gubby is in the chat room, Liz says.
From Ottawa?
Oh, Carlos and Matt.
Oh, Carlos/Matt. Unsure.
Yes. Are they having another fight, Carlos/Matt? Where'd the sound go? We're all still here, Gubby. Hi, JJ. Dashing Times. Hi, me. And hi, Micah. Micah, it wasn't you that sent me something about the Coast Guards and their 500th rescue, was it? Hello, Peter UK. What else we got? Mike Kuipers, Neil Lanwan. Hello, sir. Accommodation booked today. Well done, sir. Edward. Hey now, Edward. Edward, you're in the wrong place again. Oh, dear. Vetland.
Is
Mr.
that
Vetland.
JJ,
Hi.
Edward? Yeah.
No, Edward Leheny.
Yeah, that's JJ Pittsburgh.
Yeah, JJ.
So he's in the right place now.
Oh, okay. He has a different name. That's really
His real name
confusing,
is
JJ.
is Edward Lehaney.
Really confusing.
So you got to just know all these little things.
Because none of your names begin with J, so...
Yeah, I don't know. We'll have to ask him at some point. I think he might be actually with us in... yeah, he's coming to Atlanta on the 3rd.
right.
So we'll have to ask him, what the heck? What is your name?
Yeah.
What's JJ mean?
Exactly. Skydiving outfit sets record. Okay, that sounds exciting.
I don't seem to have that mic select mode.
Oh,
I don't
that's
think
a
there is a
shame.
mic. It's just the built-in mics, and they just do that thing automatically. But when you plug in the Focusrite, it doesn't see it?
It wasn't seeing it. I could hear the mic and hear myself and hear
Right,
you
'cause
through
you're
it, but you
monitoring
were
directly
but you were very quiet. Like it was very
Uh-huh.
quiet there. I could barely hear what you guys were saying,
Mhm.
and I was, no matter what I did, I was getting feedback like from the environment. That's probably the wrong word to describe it, but it
Yeah.
was.
Well, why don't we
And when
do
I turned
this?
off the direct monitoring, it was. I'm not going to mess with it now, though.
No, I know.
We'll leave it as
Not
is.
now. I mean,
will
like at
figure it
some
out
other
later.
point,
Yeah.
let's do a session and see if we can
so it
figure out
might
how
be a good way to
do
figure it out for, like December, whatever date that is. 3rd, 5th, something like that.
Pilot Pip Wing Strikes audio. Oh, that'll be interesting.
Okay.
Ah, yes. Oh, damn. I did include it. Well done, yes.
All right.
Thank you for inserting that RAF rivet joint thing, Liz. That saves me having to find it again on Chrome.
My pleasure, Nick.
It's very clever. You sneak your voice in when we're not watching.
It's kind of cool now that you can do that without actually popping in on the video. She likes it a lot.
Neil, is there a particular time to look around the museum? We're pitching up at 2 to start setting up, Neil. So the staff will be there from about 2, or there'll be more of them probably around a little later. So it depends how long you want to look around. Yeah, I would have thought a couple of hours perhaps would be okay to look around. So 4 o'clock, and then pull the plug at 5:45 and come upstairs. The room we're using is right above the museum, so it wouldn't take you 2 minutes to get up. But,
Nick, Richard Adams is asking which hotel. Is it the Aviator Hotel that people
yeah,
are staying
it's
at?
the I think it's called the Aviator Hampshire or something, but it's the Aviator that's right next door to the Fast Museum. There's only one Aviator hotel in Farnborough, so yes, it is. But I mean, it's not the. I'm bunking with a mate, so it's not the cheapest of hotels. That's the only thing. Rich Adam, or Adam Rich, our very well paid air traffic controller, kicked it off by starting the trend, booking his room there, and everyone's kind of followed suit. Yeah, that's about a third of the price, Neil. So very sensible.
Okay. Oh, no, I still got to get the overlays over there. Damn it. Sorry, everybody. I just ran out of time. My
It's all right.
schedule has been
Relax.
so busy, I haven't been able to, and there's still things that I've supposed to have done and I have not, and people are unhappy with me.
They have to realize that you can only be one
None of
place
us
at
are
a
unhappy
time.
with you.
Well, that's good to know. My true friends are not unhappy with me.
No, certainly not.
Almost ready, though. I just have to throw some overlays so that Liz can throw them up during the show. And when I say throw them up, I don't mean...
Steph, did you see Liz's message to you about how to select mic isolation?
Yes, that's not enough. A feature on my computer.
Uh-oh. Is
Yeah,
she
you're-
coming in broken?
Yeah,
Oh,
you're
no.
breaking up now.
Yeah,
A broken woman.
I did get the message, and that's when I said I didn't have that feature on my computer.
Okay. All right, fair
I
enough.
was just responding to everyone.
Hey. Okay. Patreon. Open. Is there a way to do this now in a batch mode for adding overlays? Does anybody know? Have you tried that yet?
No, I have to do it singly. I can't find a way of short-circuiting it.
I wish they'd get that capability because that would really be helpful.
Yeah.
Oh, they have.
Oh. Well, no one's told me about it.
You didn't get a personal email from Gage and
No.
the other guy? Yeah,
No,
I didn't
expect
either.
to be
You-
kept up to
From your
date.
from your friends? You haven't gotten an email from
Yeah.
your friends about it?
I didn't.
No, I did not get. My friends did not send me an email. We're supposed to, I guess, like watch their weekly show that talks about all the new things.
Yeah, like we got time for that. Because if you're running a podcast, you've got heaps of time to listen to people about podcasting.
Well, apparently, a lot of people do.
Well, they can't do a lot of work in their podcasting.
Well, apparently, a lot of people don't.
Crazy helicopter Robinson crash. Well, this looks like fun.
I hope this is not too confusing, Liz. For oh, here, I'm sorry. I should turn that off.
Oh, I looked at that. I didn't actually think it was a crash.
What?
The crazy helicopter auto rotation practice.
Oh, you know what? That's another video I haven't uploaded. Damn it. No, I have to still download it to screen share it.
The problem is there's someone getting airborne underneath him as he's trying to auto rotate in. There it goes. Whoops.
So, are you watching this?
Yeah, I
on
just
your
watched
own?
it live. Yeah, I've just clicked the link.
Pilot. Okay.
Nothing happens till right at the end, so you can sort of fast forward it to like the first 40 seconds.
Okay. Which one is that?
12.
Is it a YouTube video? Okay.
Yeah.
Edit and select. Sorry, Steph. I hope this is not messing you up as far as timing.
Oh, it's definitely messing me up as far as timing, but that's fine.
Okay.
It's gonna be me. It's mostly me messing up your timing anyway. So we'll just.
It doesn't matter.
I mean, Steph double books herself all the time and she never lets it stress her.
No, there's
That's
no
a
reason to be
neat
stressed.
trick.
I know. You just do as
Yeah,
much of it as you
you'll-
can, and the rest of it. So that
You'll
You know
just
what?
shorten your
None of it
life
has,
if you
like-
get stressed out.
yeah,
Right.
and you know what? I've probably really offended some people along the way, but it's never
Yeah,
offended
me.
me, so I'm doing okay.
You've had me every
Yeah.
week,
I know.
and you don't really
I'm
seem to
doing that
care.
on I'm doing that on purpose, though.
Okay, thanks. Every single gosh darn week.
Yeah, we've just opened a book on how quickly we can get you to have a
Okay,
nervous
so-
breakdown.
So last week, I was genuinely very, very busy and like borderline stressed about it. And I don't like being so busy that I'm stressed. And it was because
Yeah,
I had
that's no good.
there
I
were
could
just-
tell.
Same thing. There were a lot of things on my plate, and I was like, I don't have the bandwidth to deal with all of this.
Yeah.
So I'm going to start prioritizing. And if it doesn't make the top of the priority list, I'm sorry. But I
Yeah.
had no day last week where I was free in the afternoons or evenings. I had something every single day. I had to go out of town over the weekend, some family stuff, and yeah, I just
Liz says, "Yeah, we understand that we get bounced down on the priority list. You know, we know where we are, where we stand."
no, I would have happily
Was-
put you on top of the priority list. It's just
So I'm guessing that Rick is not going to be with us today.
doesn't look like it.
Okay. Okay. So yeah, no. Okay. So we got Steph in some undisclosed mystery location. And yeah. Okay. And so I've got that. So okay, remember everybody. Well, I don't know if I said this while we were live or not, but I forgot one of my devices that I use as my main screen, and then I use my Acme EFB, a little bit smaller iPad Pro, as a second screen, so I have more screen real estate. Well, the bigger one I forgot at home, so now I'm just working with a standard EFB iPad. That's my whole screen. So I cannot put more than one window up at a time, basically, because it would be way too small. So I am going to struggle with popping back and forth with all these different screens. I'm doing my best. I hope that it won't be too clunky.
Load shift if you need to. If you need me to start
Yeah.
something up, or
Well, so Liz, I'll just be communicating with her audibly about overlays and that kind of thing. And
Cool.
but I think she's pretty good at figuring those things out. Yeah, she does try. You are trying. Wah wah. And okay, so there is you guys, and yeah, I got the coffee fund in there. I think they're out of order, but I think you know which one I usually do first. And let's see, let me do a sound check to make sure I'm not blowing everybody's eardrums out. With
no,
the,
you sound
Radio
good to
Roger.
me.
Well, no, I'm talking about Radio Roger here.
Oh, okay.
Ready? Oops.
You're listening to the Airline Pilot Guy Show.
The view from our side of the cockpit door.
That's fine.
APG.
How's that?
Yeah, I've still got
Because
eardrums.
it's blasting me
Yeah,
out,
sounds
so I
good
need
to
to
me.
turn down my volume and turn up all your volumes. Okay. And so my volume's still okay?
Yep.
Okay.
If you want to make it a trifle louder, that would be fine. But
Okay. I will make it a trifle louder. Is it a
Okay.
trifle louder now?
it is. Ouch!
I felt that.
I could do that, you know.
Did you? Oh.
I don't really know where the microphone is here. So,
Yeah, just hit the computer. Bam, bam, bam. Okay, so we got that, and this, and
The other.
Okay, I'll be popping it back and forth, so to speak. Yeah. And you won't be able to see that though. That's off camera. Okay. Okay. Shall we give it a shot?
Let's do it.
Okay.
You're listening to the Airline Pilot Guy Show.
The view from our side of the cockpit door.
WAPG. It's the Airline Pilot Guy.
Airline Pilot Guy, episode 498.
Yeah, he's up in the sky. It's the Airline Pilot
you're listening to the Airline Pilot Guy Show, the view from our side of the cockpit door, with your host, Captain Jeff, broadcasting live from Studio 2C at the Marriott Marquis in Houston. Today's show is recorded on the 19th of November, 2021.
Yeah, he's up in the sky. It's the airline pilot guy. Picture right and he's flying by. The airline pilot guy.
In today's episode, the NTSB outlines many errors leading to a 2019 fatal crash in Alaska. It turns out a flight instructor was on board a Canadian forestry plane when it landed with its gear up. More news, your feedback, and today's plane tale. So get all settled in. Tray tables and seat backs in the upright and lock positions. Electronic devices powered on. I'm Radio Roger, and Flight 498 is ready for pushback.
Thank you, Radio Roger. He is an award-winning TV and radio reporter currently at the #1 all-news station in the nation. 1010 wins in... Oh, shoot. Damn it. How did that
I don't
happen?
think I've been to our shoot.
It's a very exclusive location. You have
It
to-
is,
I
isn't it?
clicked in the wrong area
Yeah.
of
You have to be in the know
the
to be able
window.
to get there.
Damn it. And I'm looking, well, where's my New York City thing? Where'd it go? It's the wrong rack, so to speak.
All gone.
All right, I'm just
dear.
going to take over from... thank you, Radio Roger. He's an award-winning TV and radio reporter currently at the #1 all-news station in the nation. 1010 wins in... New York City! Welcome to the Airline Pilot Guy Show. You'd think by now I'd know the name of this podcast, but I don't. An aviation podcast covering the latest in aviation news and answering your great feedback. I'm Captain Jeff, a major... pain in the you-know-what. I'm a pilot at a major legacy airline based in Atlanta. I'm starting over. Not doing this anymore. Screw
I
it.
was thought it was
I
know you guys
the
were probably
pilot comedy
amused.
show.
By all that.
I thought it was great.
All right.
But by all
Here we
means,
go.
go again.
All right, here we go. Take two.
You're listening to the Airline Pilot Guy Show.
The view from our side of the cockpit door.
WAPG. It's the airline pilot guy.
Airline Pilot Guy episode 498.
Yeah, he's up in the sky. It's the airline pilot guy.
Hello, you're listening to the Airline Pilot Guy Show, the view from our side of the cockpit door, with your host, Captain Jeff, broadcasting live from Studio 2C at the Marriott Marquis in Houston. Today's show is recorded on the 19th of November, 2021.
Yeah, he's up in the sky. It's the airline pilot guy. Picture right and he's flying by. The airline pilot guy.
In today's episode, the NTSB outlines many errors leading to a 2019 fatal crash in Alaska. It turns out a flight instructor was on board a Canadian forestry plane when it landed with its gear up. More news, your feedback, and today's plane tale. So get all settled in. Tray tables and seat backs in the upright and lock positions. Electronic devices powered on. I'm Radio Roger, and Flight 498 is ready for pushback.
Thank you, Radio Roger. He is an award-winning TV and radio reporter currently at the #1 all-news station in the nation. 1010 wins in... New York City! Welcome to the Airline Pilot Guy Show. It's an aviation podcast covering the latest in aviation news and answering your great feedback. I'm Captain Jeff, a pilot at a major legacy airline based in Atlanta, GA, and joining me today from an undisclosed location in... A doctor, skydiver, marathon runner, strength training junkie, IPA connoisseur, and commercial multi-engine instrument-rated backstabbing jumper-dumper, Dr. Steph.
Hey, Captain Jeff. It is good to see you guys. And yeah, this is my mobile setup, mobile studio, and hopefully that the internet on my mobile hotspot holds out, B, the battery on my computer holds out, and C, you can continue to hear me with this setup that I have because, of course, I've never tried this setup before, and that doesn't sound like anyone that we know. So we'll go with it and see what happens.
It works great. I never change a thing, as you know.
No, never.
All right, and joining us from his studio,
In Hartford, Hereford, and Hampshire.
world traveler. No. Well, yeah, he used to be anyway. Professional photographer, former RAF, RAAF fighter pilot, retired Airbus A330, A340 captain for Virgin Atlantic Airways. It's Captain Nick.
For
Hello,
Virgin.
Nick.
Yeah, I've put down roots now. I'm not nearly so much of a world traveller, which actually was typified by the fact that I took my setup to Farnborough and brought it back, and I've actually managed to get it going again, which I think is remarkable.
That
The
is
fact
remarkable.
The fact that you have to do this almost every time.
I know.
Flying around the countryside doing it. I don't know how you do it. Anyway, lovely.
It hurts my head.
Yeah, lovely to see you again.
Great to see you. Hey, you guys want to cover some aviation news?
Oh, please.
Let's do it.
Absolutely.
Okay, I gotta hit this button.
Stand by for news.
We have an update on, I believe we covered this on the last episode. It was a crash of an Antonov AN-12 Bravo Kilo, registration Echo Whiskey 518 Tango India, performing a freight flight from Yakutsk to Irkutsk. You remember my inability to pronounce those? Yeah,
Oh, I
nailed it.
thought it
Thank
was
you,
very
Liz.
good.
It was flawless this time. Absolutely
Oh, yeah,
flawless.
right. I don't think you were here to hear it last time, Steph.
No, I think I was, actually. Or
Okay.
at least I heard it on
Well, anyway, regardless, on the 12th of November, which was about a week ago, Rosaviatsia reported there were 4 passengers and 5 crew on board the aircraft. The aircraft performed an ILS approach to runway 30, which was covered with a layer of dry snow of 2 millimeters. According to that doesn't seem very much. According to the CVR transcripts, the crew was continuously monitoring the aircraft's position by distance and altitude, most likely via GPS and radio altimeter. Upon reporting a height of 30 meters, the crew decided to go around and made an according call to ATC. The engine power was increased, however, no control inputs were made to bring the aircraft into a climb. No EGPWS alarms were audible. The aircraft collided with trees and subsequently with the ground and caught fire. And, I kind of speculated. We were talking about this. We weren't sure what could possibly have happened here. And I speculated that maybe they initiated the go-around and the power came up, but they didn't ever try to pull back and climb the airplane away from the ground, which was the whole point of a go-around. And which is kind of extraordinary to me because the aircraft commander had 14,625 hours total time, 11,182 hours on type, and 7,403 hours in command.
I mean, you would think that would be a lot of practiced go-arounds and missed approaches over that length of a career
You would
to
think.
execute correctly.
Absolutely. I'm pretty sure their go-around procedures will be similar to ours, Jeff. So once you put the power on, you call going around, the next thing you're waiting for is the call from the other pilot saying positive rate to give you the cue to raise the gear. And it's literally the next thing that happens. And if he doesn't call positive rate or isn't looking for it, something really weird has happened on the flight deck.
We have added some extra steps in our go-around procedure in recent times at Acme, and so we hit the toga button, the takeoff go-around power button. So if the auto throttles are on, which they almost always are, the power should start coming up. You should be following along with your hand and making sure that the power is coming up. And so we've added toga power flaps 13 to kind of lower the drag with the flaps, but still have, sufficient lift with them. And then the added step is let's ensure that the power is indeed coming up and the nose of the airplane the pitch is actually increasing so that we're, doing the basic steps of a go-around. And then positive rate gear up, and then some other added stuff, that would probably be similar to other standard operating procedures at various airlines and such. So it's something that actually has been happening in recent times, where crews have forgotten that very critical step of ensuring that the nose is pointing in the right direction.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, you can understand it, perhaps single-man operations, if he had been disorientated. But if you've got another pilot there, I mean, that's the whole point of the pilot monitoring, is to make sure that, everything is going according to the, normal procedures. So I guess we'll find out more. But at the moment, I'm completely bemused by this one.
Yeah, I don't know. Uninteresting aside, I was attending some family stuff this past weekend out of town, and on the way back for the second time only ever as a passenger, we went around on final as a passenger on the commercial flight, and there was a citation jet ahead of us that was rather slow in vacating the runway environment. So, but it was funny. I was sitting up front, and the two forward flight attendants were sitting in their jump seats having a conversation. I don't even think they actually noticed that we went around.
They're so used to
They didn't break their conversation. The flight attendant from the back came on to give a short PA. You may have noticed we did not continue to landing, and we'll get some information from the flight. I was like, that's pretty funny, actually, because they didn't stop their conversation at all. They just continued.
I love it. Did anyone scream down the back?
No. There's definitely at least one av geek up front. He's like, "Ooh, go around." I was like,
Yeah.
Exciting.
Liz is saying in my ear, didn't you have a go around this week, Jeff? Last week? Yeah, I did. We were trying to do an approach to an airport somewhere in the Midwest, and I was the pilot monitoring, and we were doing a visual approach and with automation. And the automation wasn't doing exactly what my FO thought it should be doing, or it wasn't doing what it should be doing. And so I was saying, like, okay, we're getting high, and it was like
on the glide slope, that is, right? Not just
on the glide slope.
high.
Oh yeah, we're not getting high. We're okay. Here, pass the joint. Yeah, we're getting high. No,
I just wanted to make very explicit.
Thank you for making that clear, Steph. I need all the help I can get. I don't want to be in any more trouble than
looking out for you.
Thank you. And so then finally I just went, I think we should. And then he at about the same time said, let's go around. I said, yeah, that's a good idea. It's like, no way at this point we're going to be able to recover from this. And so we performed the go around procedure and got vectored around. No big deal. And I may have said something on the PA very similar to what you heard, Steph. On the but
well, I know the particular instance. My particular instance was true because I was actually watching it happen on Flight Radar 24. Yeah.
Wait a minute, you had your electronic device.
I can
on
neither
with
confirm nor deny that that's how that works.
Okay, I'll snip this out, Steph. Don't worry.
Yeah, that's fine.
Don't worry.
That's fine.
I won't do that.
Yes,
Anyway,
I was using my electronic device.
So yeah, and I was kind of surprised. The tower usually asks, what the reason for the go around was.
I was going to say, did they want to know why?
No, they didn't ask, but maybe it was obvious. I don't know.
Like you weren't going to get here from there, so
they were kind of looking out the window,
try
going,
that again.
"Yeah, this is not going to work." like the Delta pilot going into Reno. How's this going to work? That's what I was thinking. How's this going to work? Anyway, we had a nice discussion about it afterwards, and he goes, "Yeah, I probably just turned everything off." And I went, yeah, that probably would have been the best thing to do in that situation. But neither here. It was a good learning experience, and we were running way early, and we still arrived at the gate early, so it wasn't a big deal. But anyway, just goes to show you always should be ready for that old go around procedure. You never know when you're going to have to use it. So there you go. Little slice of Jeff's life. All right. Anything else to say before we move on to the next item? All right. Let let me select it and start reading this. An update. Oh, Liz, I think I have an overlay in there of this wonderful man who was responsible basically for, indirectly, for killing 2 people. David Henderson. We've talked about this in the last couple of episodes, I believe. He was responsible for transporting, or the safe transport, of Emiliano Sala, the footballer. Okay. Is there one labeled drunk? No, that's not it.
That's me.
Oh, that's a picture of Nick. No. Hang on. Let me see here. What did I do? Did I not get that in there? I made. Well, you know what? We all know what he looks like. Oh, it's a scumbag. It's O1B scumbag. Yeah, you got it. See, I literally labeled it scumbag. So I hope that I don't have any legal liability for saying that. Anyway, yeah, so he was responsible for organizing the flight and used a pilot that was not qualified to fly said flight. And so he was in trial, and he was convicted. I think that was the last thing that we had talked about on our show. And now he has been sentenced to 18 months in prison. David Henderson, 67, of Hotham East Riding of Yorkshire, was found guilty last month of recklessly endangering the safety of an aircraft. And so we just talked about what happened there. And when we were talking about this between shows, and I thought, 18 months, I mean, I'm glad that he was actually convicted and he's actually going to have to do some jail time, but 18 months just doesn't seem like enough. But, oh well, it's something, right?
No, I mean, I guess he was responsible for setting it up, but the man who was ultimately responsible was the captain of the aircraft.
Yes, true.
He has to shoulder the majority of the blame. This man just facilitated that.
Right.
So I guess that might explain it.
Yeah.
But,
Well, I think it boils down to, the intent there and his knowledge of what he was doing. So he clearly knew that was not appropriate in any way, shape, or form.
Oh, absolutely.
He was not organizing the safe. So he had that knowledge. It was just, he wasn't the one who was physically conducting the flight.
Yeah.
No.
He even said to
agree
several
that
people,
was done.
let's, don't say anything to anybody about this.
Oh yeah, he was trying to hide it and cover it
Yeah.
up and everything, and that very much implies guilt and prior knowledge of, it wasn't just like, oh, I had no idea that this person was unfit
Right.
to conduct this operation, and my job's just to pay the guy, make sure it happens. He knew.
Yep.
So I think it's,
Yeah, I mean, the court knew too. They accused him of running a cowboy outfit, which actually
here we go again.
more. You'd be more associated with that, wouldn't you, Jeff? Coming from
Okay.
cowboy land.
Yeah. We live and die here in cowboy land. But I have to say
Is he
that
just
Steph is
referring
much
to
more of a
America?
cowboy.
You're just
What'd you
referring
say?
to America. Are you
Yeah,
just referring
of
to
course.
America?
Anytime you say cowboy, of course he's talking about pilots in America.
Yes, absolutely.
No, that's
yes.
like pilots in the Old West are cowboys.
That's it. Yes, pilots in the west of America.
Old West.
The Old
in the
West.
1800s.
There weren't any pilots in the Old West.
That's my point.
All right.
I just thought it might make a good show title, that's all.
Oh, I see. He's always thinking about the cover art. Here, let me say
Yes, I
something
am.
very clever that could be a title, and it could make my life
Yeah,
easier.
My
doing
job
the-
very easy, yes,
Yeah,
exactly.
I
I'm
don't
just going
blame
to
you for
find a
that.
cowboy flying an airplane now.
Okay, well, maybe we can come up with some other cute, creative ideas for show titles by continuing with the news. Here, this might be some good fodder. We talked about this on an earlier show as well. I think we did. Maybe we never got to it. And now Liz is not there to tell me whether or not I'm right or wrong about that. So, anyway, let's. Maybe you guys recognize this. Do you recognize this news item?
I recognize it.
Yeah.
I can't remember specifically
Okay.
discussing it. Or if I
We
read
didn't
about it, but
talk
I'm pretty
much
sure
about
we,
it.
Okay.
we at least mentioned it.
Well, I guess we're talking about a Canadair CL-415 that landed belly. Well, it's an amphibian aircraft, so which means it can land on the water or on land. and they were coming in for a landing on land, but they landed gear up. And so the concrete was much harder than water and did some damage to the belly, scraping the belly of this CL415 on May 2nd, 2021. And okay, great. Liz is back. Now, we were just discussing, we've actually covered this news item, except that there is like a new development in it, I guess, right? That's why it's in there. The number 1C. Yeah, I don't remember if we covered it or not. But anyway, so yeah, the Transportation Safety Board of Canada is advising operators of two pilot aircraft to ensure their standard operating procedures clearly define how items on flight checklists should be confirmed and verified. The investigative agency issued the caution in a report released Thursday about the landing of an Ontario Ministry of Natural Resources and Forestry water bomber with retracted landing gear on runway 12 at Sault Ste. Marie. Is that Sault Ste. Marie? Okay. I'd rather say Salt.
Oh, Sault
Salt
Ste. Marie.
Ste. Marie. Sault Ste. Marie. On May 2nd, two pilots were on board the training flight. An instructor pilot was in the plane's left seat and was monitoring a pilot in the right seat who was receiving training while flying the big aircraft. The pilot being trained had practiced the same procedures in a CL415 flight simulator 2 months earlier. They were practicing a flapless landing, not using the flight control aileron flaps located near the end of an aircraft's wings. Neither of the two pilots noticed that the landing gear wasn't down. Much of the investigative report focused on how the pilots responded to actions required in the provincial ministry's gear down landing checklist. And Liz, if you can put the checklist, I think it's the one of those overlays right there. There it is. Gear down landing checks. So we have, if we're landing on a runway, number 1, gear down, 3 green. Condition levers, max, flaps as required. 25 when landing assured. Brakes, parking off. That's always a good idea. Pressure checked. Nose wheel steering bypass, I guess. Press in. I'm not sure what PBA means. I know what PBR means, but that's entirely something different. And then lights and taxi landing as required. Okay. So it goes on. Air operators who use two crew aircraft should ensure that their company standard operating procedures clearly define how checklists are intended to be actioned and that items affecting aircraft configuration are confirmed and verified, the report concluded. Flight crews are reminded to exercise additional vigilance during airborne training flights, given the significant potential for distraction from normal cockpit duties while instruction's taking place. The report noted there was there was significant damage to the water bomber's belly, but no injuries to the crew. So basically here, I guess we're talking about maybe people that are used to flying solo, as Steph does quite often, right, Steph? I mean, solo in the manner of you, the only
Single pilot operations.
Right. So I'm sure that when you're doing a checklist, do you say gear and then say to yourself in response, down 3 green, or how does that work in a single pilot operation? Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sometimes I say it out loud.
So
We're not strictly required to, but yeah. Sometimes
I've been
it's just
flying.
to say it out loud to know that you've done it.
Yeah.
It's a lot easier to keep track of something you've said out loud than it is to say it in your head.
There's nobody.
I mean, I especially
there.
do for takeoff check and and pre-landing checklist for sure.
And there's nobody there really to kind of double check and monitor and cross check.
It's just,
right?
it's just
you.
for me, but yeah.
So in crew airplanes that I've been flying for most of my career, and I know that Nick has quite a bit of experience in crew aircraft as well, it's a very important thing for us to, and there are certain things delineated on checklists that actually require a response, an out loud verbal response from one or both of the crew members, whether it's pilot flying or pilot monitoring. And it's something that is ingrained in us, and hopefully in this situation, if that was part of their culture, one of them would have said, if somebody had said gear down, or the other person would have said down and whatever. In other words, there's more chance to trap the error in that kind of situation when you're, doing this kind of as a challenge response kind of thing. And it looks like maybe they didn't have that SOP set up, or if they did, they weren't practicing it.
So just like anything else, even saying it out loud is not a guarantee that you're not going to screw it up.
Right.
So, say it out loud, take half a second to look, think about, touch whatever it is. If you need to actually move gear levers or position flaps, or actually physically look at the trim that you have set, as you're doing it, make it very intentional every single time. The more flights you do per day, the more rote that becomes, and the easier it is to forget did I do it this flight, or did I do it, the one before, which was only 20 minutes ago. You have to be intentional about what you're doing, in addition to saying it, having your procedure, following the procedure every single time.
Yeah.
I must admit, it's harder for guys to do your style of flying, Jeff, because you're doing several sectors a day and you're repeating those checklists over and over and over again. Would be very easy to become blasé about it, and go, oh God, this is the 10th time today I've done it, or whatever. I can't be bothered. For last long haul guys, it was much more important with the fatigue factor built in. But you do have to be so disciplined about it. Funnily enough, in the Air Force, where I did quite a bit of single seat flying at all the bases where there were fighters, single seat fighters flying, they definitely had a runway caravan controller, and the one of the main jobs of that controller was to be the equivalent of the second pilot for someone making an approach and visually check the gear was down, because a single seat pilot might not have that double check, and having someone on the ground doing it for every landing was a good fail-safe.
Yeah, we had something in training command when the students were out there. Well, for everybody in the pattern, it was called the Runway Supervisory Unit, and it was usually a couple of instructors out there trained to do this job. And basically, we're like silent tower controllers essentially, and just double checking, making sure that people aren't coming in with their gear up.
Absolutely. The Australians had a different system. When your gear was down, when you press the transmit button at the end of your transmission, the radio would give a bleep, which indicated to the tower controller that the gear was down. So you didn't need an extra body on the end of the runway, but they got that confirmation every time you called finals. They listened for the bleep to make sure that you had your gear down, which I thought was quite clever.
Interesting.
But then again, most of these airplanes have got warnings if they come below a certain height without your gear. They usually horn blares, but perhaps not in this case.
But in this case,
well, and plenty of
Liz
documented occasions. Plenty of documented occasions where people have just ignored that completely because they have such a
I'm afraid
bias
so.
that they've already done it.
So why did you land gear up? Well, there was some kind of a noise blaring in the background that was distracting me.
I thought I better just get the plane on the ground as fast as possible.
Figure out what's going on after I get it on the ground. But Liz was asking, well, doesn't this airplane also land on the water? I said, yes. And that's one of the tough things. I've never flown an airplane, an amphibian airplane. I know, Steph, you've flown float planes. I would imagine that you could probably land those on land as well. Do they have the capability of?
The one that I flew did not have wheels, but they would land. They were able, because the aircraft is so light and the float's so robust, they could land it on grass as long as it wasn't overly dry and was sufficiently long. I have no idea how that actually worked, but that's how they work. But the whole season it stayed on the water, and then they would only do that once per season just to get back on wheels.
I would imagine that flying an amphibian would be particularly not difficult, but
different set of checklists, right?
Yeah, because you had to really say, okay, I'm landing this on water. Okay, I'm landing on the water. I do not want my gear down. Because if you land one of these things with the gear down in the water, I mean, it could be a lot worse consequence than what we're seeing here in this incident.
Yeah. Hence the need for discipline. Interestingly, Ben says The dragon noise were less than typical. It that again isn't necessarily. I mean, you've got a damn great horn. Perhaps people ignore that. When I was an instructor on occasions, and I was doing fast jet instructing, so that the guys that I took had already done like 120 hours on jets. We were just taking them up another stage. Occasionally, they'd put the gear down, and from the back cockpit, I'd immediately put it straight back up again, and we'd fly the circuit with the gear up, and they would call finals 3 greens without checking, and then they'd be struggling to control the speed round finals. They'd have the throttle back at idle. Yeah, and this airplane's racing away, and they're really confused, trying to work out what's happening. And I just sat there in the back going, well, I wonder when he's going to realise he hasn't got any gear. So you get confused and distracted by why the airplane isn't performing properly, and you don't go through that little mental thing, oh, I haven't got the gear down, because you believe you've put it down.
I've experienced this a few times in my career. You're flying down a glide slope, and it's one of those things where you keep pulling the power back, and you're going, this feels like it's back to, and you immediately, or I do, most of us do, look and make sure, is the gear down? Yeah, the gear is down. What's going on here? Sometimes you kind of shift into like a big tailwind or something like that, and that has the same effect. But it's funny, or sometimes when you're flaring and you're thinking, I should be touching down now, but we're not, and then just quickly glance over to make sure the gear is down. And every single time it has been for me. Knock on wood. Hopefully I can continue that for the next 2 years and 1 month.
Not long to go.
Nope. Not that I'm counting.
No one's counting. You have the app that Nick used to have?
I do. I
on
just
on your phone screen, like your
yeah,
lock
I should see if
screen,
I can
so
find it. What's the name of that thing?
Oh, something reminder.
Reminder. Let's see. If I can.
something.
Okay, reminder, and okay, there we go.
Oh,
765 days.
Oh,
765
765 days. Wow.
Yeah.
That's good. That's well below. I mean, I started well above 1,000 days.
Yeah. So counting down. Yeah, baby.
Good job.
Harris, how would you feel about having something like Alexa listen to the checklist and let you know if you skipped anything and remind you about your groceries? No.
Don't
I
forget to
want
buy
Alexa.
milk on the way home. Hey, Captain Jeff, you didn't put
Yes.
your gear down. Also, buy milk on the way home.
Yes.
And here's a reminder of where you parked your car.
Yes.
She's oh so helpful
Yes.
and creepy.
Although I really could have used that on my last trip. I'm not used to parking in the employee parking lot, and it's a very rare thing when that happens. And I got back from my trip, and this is like the 3rd trip in a row. So I've been doing a lot of flying with very little time off in the last week and a half. And I got out, and I thought I remembered where I'd parked my car, but I didn't. And I walked around that parking lot probably for 45 minutes trying to find my car.
Why didn't you just press the panic button? Don't you have a panic button on your?
I did, but I guess it was too far away to
no.
for it to activate. Actually, I didn't do the panic button. I did the thing to lock and unlock it.
Beep,
It
beep.
makes a little sound, but maybe if I'd done the panic button, it would have worked better.
I used to put a flag on my aerial on
Seriously?
the car. Yeah,
Cool.
because it was
Well, you
a
know
big
what?
parking lot.
I think that if I'd thought about it, isn't there a way, like with Google Maps and stuff like that, you can hit a button that says this is where
Apple
I parked my.
Maps actually is supposed
Apple?
to automatically
Yep.
update where you parked your car.
Well,
Yep.
I don't know. Maybe I should switch to Apple Maps. I've been using Google Maps for the longest time. Anyway, I thought this is what it's like. This is how I'm losing my mind, obviously, and it's just a matter of time before I don't even know who I am.
In Hillel's case, Alexa will remind him that his subscribe and save item, loofahs, will ship in 7 days.
Oh, good.
A
It's always good to
Loofarito.
have
Lovely.
what do we call those things? Loofaritos?
Loofarito, yes.
Yeah. All right. Enough of this rabbit hole. Let's continue on with the next item, and that would be this one here. Okay, there was a fatal airplane crash in Alaska in 2019, and Pen Air. Yeah, it was wasn't it a Saab 340. Let me see. Yeah, Saab. Yeah. And it was flight 3296, and they were operating under contract with Alaska Air into Dutch Harbor's Unalaska Airport. They're so Unalaska there.
Is it
in the
Unalaska or
Aleutian Islands.
Unalaska?
It's Unalaska, I'm sorry.
Okay.
But I was just having a little fun with it.
Unalaska.
On October's,
Anti-Alaska.
that's so Unalaska, really, though. So that's why they call it Unalaska. On October 17, 2019, after touching down with a strong tailwind, the Saab 2000 turboprop plane slid off the runway and airport grounds, coming to rest on a rock berm protecting the airport from an adjacent harbor. The impact tore a propeller blade loose, and it sliced into the side of the plane, killing a 38-year-old man in his seat. A second passenger was seriously injured. So we talked about this whole incident shortly after it happened. Yeah, it looks like scrolling around here to find, is this a final report, Liz, that we're looking at on this? Okay. It's a summary from the final report, Liz thinks. And, what am I supposed to say about this, Liz? Okay. Yeah, as now I'm revealing the fact that I haven't really done a lot of prep work for today's show. Thinking I could just wing it, but now I just didn't want to go and read everything in this because we kind of covered it pretty well after it happened, and I was thinking maybe. Okay. Okay, the National Transportation.
Was it just that it
Safety-
was kind of a series of things that were all conspiring against them? I mean, that's kind of the usual case in an accident anyway, but, in this case,
Yeah.
it was a really strong tailwind. The captain didn't have the qualifications to go to that airport.
Mm-hmm. I don't see that, Liz. Oh. Oh, okay. I'm sorry. I was looking way too far down in the article. Thank you, Liz. So here we go. The U.S. National Transportation Safety Board on Tuesday concluded the problem with the brakes was the primary reason the plane skidded off the runway 2 years ago. But investigators also raised numerous questions about the troubling series of events leading to the death of one passenger and serious injury when the propeller broke off and pierced the fuselage. Safety investigators said the pilot's decision to land in prohibited winds was intentional, faulted the airline's lack of internal safety systems, and called the U.S. Federal Aviation Administration's oversight of the now defunct airline inadequate. So, anyway, so there you go. Yeah, there were several things going on there, as Steph mentioned, in addition to the issue with the brakes. But just starting off, yes?
As an outsider not from America, the NTSB
Not a
is
cowboy.
not a cowboy. Yahoo! The NTSB is not shy about criticizing the FAA, are they?
No.
No, they never
have.
are.
Yeah, they're always butting heads.
Yes, I know.
And
I think it's good because it obviously keeps the organisations on their toes. I think it's excellent.
It does, except that the problem is it's frustrating for the NTSB because they don't have any authority, regulatory authority to establish rules and regulations as the FAA does. And so all they can do is make recommendations or spank the FAA for not doing their job properly. And the FAA could go, you make a good point, we're going to go ahead and change that, which they have done. And there are other times, it seems like more times than not, that they say, well, thanks,
Meh.
but we don't think it's that big of a deal. We're not going to do anything. So
Interesting, isn't it?
yeah. All right. Yeah, and NOTAMs, and I insert sound clip here,
Yes,
are a bunch of garbage. All right.
they certainly are. At least some
Oh,
of them
there
are.
wasn't there some news?
Didn't they just
Liz,
change
did you
the
say you were
name
back?
of NOTAMs
Yes, it's noticed.
Yeah, we do have that.
to air? We do have that? Okay, I'll hold off.
Yeah, we do have that in our
Okay,
in our
good.
feedback.
Yes,
and,
we're just foreshadowing more NOTAMs.
But I thought there was something that I was reading recently, and Liz, correct me if I'm wrong. I think you're the one that mentioned it. Was Zumwalt was honored with something. Oh, okay. He was showing his retirement honors and that he is going to be teaching at Embry-Riddle Aeronautical University in what, February?
Yeah,
starting in January. Okay.
You know what his subject is?
Safety?
No tabs.
No tabs, really?
It's no time. It's a broad field.
I'm not
Or
going to
very
fall for that one.
specialty.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. Enough of that one. This is a sad one, Liz. Pilot turned up to fly 177 people from Scotland to the U.S. after downing whiskeys. This is from the Daily Record. And,
It wasn't just a daily record for number of whiskeys downed.
It may have been a daily record.
I misread that.
Yeah, well, I could see that, though. An airline pilot has been jailed after he failed a breathalyzer test before he was due to fly 177 people to the United States. Glendon Gulliver had spent the previous night drinking whiskey before he reported for duty at Glasgow Airport. The 63-year-old, I'm almost 63 myself, was scheduled to take the controls of a United Airlines Boeing 757 flight to Newark, New Jersey. But the Gulf War veteran was intercepted and asked to take a breath test after a concerned member of the public contacted the airport. Gulliver of Denver, Colorado, was found to be more than 4 times over the legal limit. Now, I think they're probably talking about the Scottish legal limit for intoxication is a lot lower, but I mean that doesn't excuse, if it was anything over, that's no good. But
He still held to his airline standards, which is probably 00.
Yeah, that's true. Good point.
Yeah.
Who are you, Steph?
I'm Steph.
I'm pretty sure that
Nice to
this
meet
was
you.
back where before the breath and alcohol limit came to 0 for all transport personnel. So there would have been it was about half the legal limit for driving before, and now it's 0. So I'm pretty certain it would have. You can't have 4 times over 0, can you? So it would have been twice probably the driving limit, I would guess.
Yeah,
Not absolutely
that's what I'm
certain
thinking
about that. Yeah.
Yeah. Still, that's a lot.
Yeah, still significantly impaired.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So,
I think that I don't know. I would never operate certainly an aircraft and not other vehicles. But I know it's changed here in the U.S. a little bit too, not only for driving, but perhaps in other arenas. So some states are down to 0.04 instead of just the usual 0.08. I think Utah is, and I think that was what it was for the FAA for private pilots. But man, no alcohol in flying. That's not a good thing.
No. So this happened in August of 2019, and just yesterday, whenever this was published, he was jailed for 10 months at Paisley Sheriff Court. The 15th of November, I guess, is when this happened then. Anyway, so this happened in August, and it was on a layover in Glasgow, drinking whiskey in a pub. Glasgow, I'm sorry. I don't know why I always have trouble with that. The sheriff was told that he wasn't used to drinking the spirit and ended up so drunk that he fell over outside when he left the bar at around 9 p.m. And I'm thinking, I kind of feel sorry for him. The ex-U.S. Navy fighter pilot, I was just flying with I still am flying with a U.S. Navy fighter pilot. And we were talking about this, and I said, yeah, here's a problem. U.S. Navy fighter pilot, F-18 guy, too. Was due to fly 166 passengers and 11 crew members to New Jersey, the following morning at 9:05. Okay, wait a minute. 9 o'clock, he fell over outside the pub, and he wasn't even supposed to be leaving until 9 o'clock the next morning. However, airport staff were alerted to the former lieutenant commander's condition when a member of the public contacted them on Twitter. They said, "Hi, a United Airlines pilot just walked out of a pub in Glasgow and fell over drunk about 2100. Now, I wonder how he knew, or this person knew, that he was a United Airlines pilot.
You want to know how we knew?
Yeah.
Have you ever met a pilot? You know,
There you go.
You know how some of the pilots are going to tell you.
Because
And
he
he's
told
probably at the bar
everybody.
going, "I'm a pilot, and I fly.
I'm a pilot.
and
I
I'm
fly
gonna
a big
fly to New
airplane.
Jersey tomorrow." That's all
Yeah.
it went.
And then, I usually say a different airline if somebody asks me who I'm flying for. If I'm in a bar, I fly for United is what I usually say too. Anyway, let's see. He had pleaded guilty to attempting to perform an aviation function. Well, I try to perform aviation functions every week, while more than 4 times the limit in breach of Section 93(1) of the Railways and Transport Safety Act of 2003. Anyway, let's see. The flight crew was to be crewed by, the flight was, it doesn't matter. Let's see. He failed the breath test, but here I'm trying to find that part that I thought, oh, wait a minute. This guy was a recovering alcoholic. So this is,
So I wasn't entirely sure on the timeline of this. Like, did
I
that
wasn't
stuff
either.
happen after he had this incident?
I don't know.
I read it a couple times and I wasn't sure.
Well, I read somewhere he had been to 1,200 meetings.
Yeah,
so
Since he
Alcoholics
was
Anonymous.
arrested, though. It was since he was arrested.
Oh, okay.
Well, how do you do that? Now, okay, he was arrested. This happened in August of 2019. It's 2021. It's past, so it's what, 25, 26 months later?
How many
How do you go to
days?
1,200 Alcoholic Anonymous meetings?
4 meetings a day?
Wait a minute, really?
No.
Every day?
No. Yeah.
I think that's an error. I don't
I
think
think
that's
so, too.
that can possibly be right. I think they usually get together like, well, maybe they get together every night. I don't know. Oh.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I'm still not convinced about that. Anyway, he had undergone a 60-day rehabilitation at the Cumberland Heights Treatment Center in Nashville. Again, I'm not sure what the timeline is regarding that, but anyway, the bottom line is, this is not good. You're not supposed to do that. He's giving all of us a bad name, and what else? He'd blown a good career, that's for sure. But I guess he's getting close to the end of it anyway. It's probably not the way he envisioned ending it.
No, definitely not. Always very sad when this happens. Very sad. But we all understand how responsible our job is, and there's absolutely no excuse.
No, and you have to be, if this, suppose you find yourself in this situation, hypothetically, theoretically, whatever, or in actuality, you wake up that morning and you're scheduled to fly, you have to call in sick. Like, you cannot go and do this. You can't say, well, I drank last night, but it's been 8 hours, so I'm probably fine. Depends on how much you had to drink. Depends on, if you were, sorry, my bill arrived. Speaking of drinking, my bill arrived with my beverages.
Hurry up, Steph. You got a flight in an hour.
I know. No, it's worse. I got to run a race.
Well, I'm not sure that's worse, but it's not good.
In the dark on trails, it's probably worse.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
At least you're not endangering. Well, no, you might be endangering other people's
But
lives too.
I think a lot of people get into this, they've been told these things like, okay, you have 8 hours from the time you're due to fly. That's when you need to stop drinking. Count backwards 8 hours. But it depends on what you're drinking. It depends on your body's metabolism of alcohol, and a lot of other factors. So, are you dehydrated? Are you well? Are you, do you have some other cold symptoms going on or something random that might prevent you from being completely sober when those 8 hours are up? And I don't know that I know a lot of people who could say that they've never had a night of, perhaps imbibing just a little more than they planned, where they didn't wake up the next day more than 8 hours later and still feel probably unfit to do whatever it is they were meant to be doing that day. So, yes, please just make smart choices about what you're going to be doing job-wise and drinking-wise. And that's what I have
Absolutely.
to say about
I mean, I feel sorry for him being subjected to this awful Scottish whiskey. It's not like you have whiskey in America, is it?
No.
that. Bourbon.
Yeah.
Tim Van Ram makes a good point here. Alcoholics go to meetings. We just listen to podcasts. Yes. This is our AA meeting.
Well, exactly.
Aviation, AvGeeks Anonymous.
There you go.
There you go. There's a show title. All right. Somebody remember that because I'll forget.
I'm putting it on Liz.
Let's see. Let's continue. She said she has it. Thank you. Hong Kong quarantines 130 pilots, stoking supply chain fears. This is from Al Jazeera. Hong Kong, China. Hong Kong has forced 130 Cathay Pacific pilots to undergo 21 days of quarantine, raising fears the aviation hub's zero COVID policy could aggravate a global supply crisis caused by the pandemic. Hong Kong Chief Executive Carrie Lam made the announcement on Tuesday after 3 pilots slipped through strict COVID testing protocols, those darn pilots, and tested positive upon re-entering the International Financial Center. All aviation personnel who stayed at a hotel in Frankfurt, Germany, where the 3 pilots spent their layover, would have to undergo 21 days of mandatory quarantine. Authorities sent 130 cargo and passenger pilots, along with cabin crew, to a government-run quarantine facility in the semi-autonomous Chinese territory, which imports more than 90% of its food. If there are 1 or 2 more cases like this, we might lose all our cargo pilots, Lam said in a press briefing, admitting the move would have a significant impact on the city's supply chains. The decision appears rather extreme, said Shukor Yusuf, founder of aviation consultancy firm Endow Analytics. Apart from the inconvenience for the pilots, it will likely also incur additional costs to the airline at a time when its financials are under stress and weaken Hong Kong's position as an air hub. And it says it's just the latest blow to Cathay Pacific, which is reeling from the impact of the pandemic and mass pro-democracy and anti-government protests in 2019. Once the pride of Hong Kong, the company has laid off nearly 6,000 staff members and axed a regional airline in October of last year. The airline reported 7.6 billion Hong Kong dollar loss in the first half of the year. Yikes! I don't know what that. Oh, it's 97.6 U.S. million. It's not good.
Still quite a lot of money.
Yeah.
No, it's not. But it's interesting what some people seem to think, because they've got a comment further on. Says Tommy Wu, lead economist of Oxford Economics in Hong Kong, predicted the impact of the disruption would be limited. The overall impact on the airline's operators won't be severe, given that it may be able to call back some of the staff that are currently on unpaid leave if necessary. Does he have any idea how long it takes to retrain and bring up to speed pilots who have been forced to go on unpaid leave and have lost their currency? No, you can't. You can't just do that. You've got limited simulators, limited numbers of trainers, and they're probably some of the guys who've been quarantined. You just can't pull pilots out of a hat like you would a white rabbit.
Exactly. Yeah, I think you're right.
And I think they're going to have to rethink some of their policies here for the sake of, I can understand their point, I can understand their fears, I can understand their concerns without getting into all of the specifics and details, but at some point you have to be able to transport and move goods and people, and that's just the way our modern society and economies work.
Yep.
And a quarantine of 21 days seems pretty excessive.
It's excessive. I don't know any other country or place that's doing 21 days.
No, much longer than is required to establish that you have an infection or not. So I'm just a bit confused about that.
It almost seems like they're trying to tank the system,
Well, funny you should say that. It just seems a very odd bias, doesn't it?
Very odd. Well, let's end the news segment with some positive news. Somebody named Jeff sent this little news item in. I saw this on
because there's a
AvWeb.
pretty lady flying.
That might have been something that caught my eye. I don't know. An avweb.com article talks about this young lady. Is it Genesa or Genesa? I'm not sure. Genesah. I've never seen that name before. Duffy.
Genesa?
Genesa?
I have no
or
idea.
Genesa. Okay, that sounds
Genesa?
good.
Yeah. Sure.
She's the chief pilot and senior director of flight operations for Icon Aircraft. And if you're single, give me a call. Just kidding. Took off for a return to service shakedown flight in one of the company's A5 amphibians. Liz, stop it. She was expecting it to turn into an air-sea rescue mission. With the little two-place seaplane just out of a 100-hour inspection, Duffy took off from the company's owner training and sales center at Peter O. Knight Airport in Tampa, Florida on Monday morning, November 15th. She heard a Mooney pilot announce on the Unicom frequency that he was inbound for the airport. She said it didn't sound like anything was wrong. There was no distress call. But after she completed a water landing for a routine bilge pump check, as you do.
How lovely. I love a good bilge pump check.
Me too. The more routine, the better, I think. Let's see.
Yep.
It is.
Not even sure I know what to say about that.
Anyway, she was a few miles south of the airport, out on the water. She picked up a radio call from another aircraft. She said, "Usually I can't get reception from the surface, but I heard someone on the frequency saying that the Mooney had gone into the water." So she took off, flew toward where she estimated the aircraft might be. The water is pretty shallow there, and I could see the outline of the airplane, completely submerged. The Mooney was later reported to be on a flight from Lakeland Linder International Airport when it developed an engine problem. Flying at around 200 feet, Duffy announced her position on the radio and said that she could see one person in a yellow life jacket. Before landing, she made one circle of the area to assure herself she wouldn't hit anyone in the water. She said the winds were gusting at about 15 knots and the surface looked choppy, but when she touched down, it wasn't as bad as it looked, and she was able to taxi over to where the aircraft had sunk. That was when she saw another man without a life jacket struggling in the water. Even though the occupant in the life jacket was drifting from the site, she focused on the man without the flotation device, who turned out to be the pilot owner of the Mooney. I taxied over, and he grabbed the tail of the aircraft, and even though he was already tiring, he pulled himself along the left side of the airplane. Duffy helped him put on one of the life jackets on board the A5 and pulled the inflation handle. They maneuvered him around to the passenger side and got him into the airplane. This was a full-grown man.
I feel like she was being polite.
Oh, it was like, this was a full-grown man, she said.
A normal-sized...
Big fat guy.
Yeah, big, large male. And, we have the picture of her. She doesn't look like an overly,
No.
Bodybuilder female type. She's just kind of average.
Right.
Average build female. So
she said helping him.
For her to pull him in. Yeah.
Yeah, helping him in took some effort, she says. He told her he had owned the Mooney for several years and said his engine was overheating and he was trying to land at KTPF, but it must have quit on the approach. Meanwhile, a Tampa police rescue boat had arrived, so Duffy pointed in the direction of the passenger who was drifting away. She followed the police and transferred the pilot to the boat after the second man was picked up. Duffy said the configuration of the Icon A5 actually made the rescue relatively easy, with the fatigue pilot able to climb aboard using the stub sea wings on the hull as a platform. A Navy veteran who served as a communications tech on Guam working on submarines, Duffy took a discovery flight after her 2012 discharge and realized that aviation was a career she was looking for. She has an associate's degree in flight technology and is about 75% on her way to a bachelor's in aerospace management. She holds commercial ratings in land with multi and seaplanes as well as helicopters. She also has her instructor rating, and 950 of the 1,850 hours total time in her logbook are in the Icon A5. And now,
Well, I wouldn't hold your breath, Jeff. I think she's the one very smart lady.
Thanks, Nick. That's right. I'm used to it. And no, she does not consider herself any kind of hero. She said, "I'm just glad I was in the right place at the right time." And no, she is not considering any romantic involvement with anybody who do podcasts. Okay. Anyway, so I thought that was pretty cool. And I love the Icon A5. It's a really, really cool airplane. So
Excellent.
happy ending, happy story.
Yeah.
Yeah, great story.
All right. Well, with that, then, yes, ma'am?
I was going to say great story, maybe not for the owner of the Mooney, but all's well.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
Personal life and intact and...
True. Still alive.
Perhaps he was just trying to fly a bit lower and cool his engine off. Was that
It was overheating.
the Mooney pilot was doing? Yeah. I'll try and water cool my engine a bit.
Yeah. And yeah, what'd you say, Liz? Any landing you can swim away from? It's a good
Good
thing.
landing.
Hey, another show title possibility. Okay. Let's move on to this segment. Getting to know us. You know, that segment I used to sing stuff, but Steph kept getting upset with me because I wasn't using it
Now
right.
you're too embarrassed to.
It's true.
Yeah. So I'm just not going to sing anymore because I want Steph to be happy. I really
Happy, joy,
I
joy.
appreciate that.
Yeah. So, speaking of a happy Steph, what makes you happy, Steph? Like hanging around in undisclosed locations, drinking beer before you
Hanging
go
around
run?
with you guys in undisclosed locations. Beer makes me happy. Yeah. Yeah. Actually, I was just pulling up my calendar because you're going to ask me what I did this past week, and it was so busy that I have very little recollection of it. I've blocked it all from my mind. What was I doing?
So you probably ran a couple marathons.
No.
No? Oh.
No. That was on the last one was New York on the 7th, and I know you guys played out the stuff from Hillel, the last show. What was I doing on Tuesday when you guys recorded? I don't remember anymore. Because I was not there.
A dinner in Asheville, I think, with somebody that you went to school with or something.
Oh, no, because we changed it to Thursday. Was that right?
Oh.
You recorded on Thursday.
No. We
Tuesday?
did it on Tuesday. Oh, wait. We were going to do it on Thursday. You're right. But then you realized
you
you
did it
had
early
made that.
on Tuesday. So you did it early on Tuesday. So when you recorded,
Yeah,
because
that's it.
that's right. Okay.
Ding,
See,
ding, ding,
I
ding.
haven't- Between the three of us, we'll get it all together.
One
We'll
brain.
share one brain. Yeah, so we were going to do the show on Thursday because I thought I was going to be available to record on Thursday, but then I did have a friend that I haven't seen in a very long time, and it was important to me to be able to see him when he was in the area. So did go up to Asheville on Thursday for that. But then it worked out for the other three of you to be able to record on Tuesday, but the time was such that I was still working my day job, so I was unable to join, and I'm very sorry about that. Yeah, Wednesday. Wednesday I had I had a work meeting on Wednesday, so it's exciting and fun. And then Friday, Saturday, Sunday, I was actually out of town.
Sarcasm.
Yeah, lots of fun. I enjoy work meetings. Or, to be honest, if I had to pick between the two, I'd rather be chatting with you guys and our community.
You're breaking up, Steph.
And I was out of town the weekend, so I haven't done any flying for 2 weekends in a row now, which is sad. And I think I've probably frozen here.
Yeah, can you turn
Did I
your
just freeze?
video off?
I can, but I think it's really just that my hotspot is kind of intermittent.
Okay.
Is the video bad now?
That's completely frozen.
Is it okay now? Oh,
No. This is usually when she
okay.
disappears
quiet.
completely.
Yeah.
Yep.
Oh, there
Ding,
we
ding,
go.
ding, ding, ding.
No,
wait,
I'm
she's-
still here. Can you hear me?
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I can hear. Can you hear us? Hello? Yeah, look at that. And you both look just like me.
So of course it's been totally fine, like right up to this point.
Mm-hmm.
You're back.
Well, look
now
at the
for me. Can
time.
you hear me?
Yep.
Well, look
I
at the
think,
time.
yeah, we can hear you. We just can't see you, which is
Okay.
fine. But
Yeah, it's been.
yeah.
Well, I can try to come back. It's been totally fine right up until
No.
this moment, and it shouldn't matter for any hotspot.
Yeah, go ahead and turn the video off again, Steph, because we could hear you pretty well without the video.
Okay, I've got
Hello.
it off. Neil thinks I should check my bilge pump, which is probably true. So
Are you making that a routine bilge pump check?
A routine,
Perhaps.
yes.
Perhaps.
Routine water
Perhaps you
landing for
should.
routine bilge pump check.
Mhm.
Yeah, Monday was still out of town. Oh, sorry.
Yeah, latency is
Never
horrible.
mind. This is going exceedingly well, just like the beginning of this episode. Let me start over there. How much did you hear of what I had to say?
Yeah, not a lot.
Not a lot.
All right. So let's start over. You
Okay.
can cut all of that out, hopefully.
Oh yeah.
So about me, last week I was not able to be on the show because Monday I was on my way back from New York City. We had planned to do the show on Thursday, but then I ended up having a friend in town in Asheville that it was important for me to meet up with because I had not been there or been to see him in quite a while. So I ended up doing that, and you guys ended up recording on Tuesday while I was still at work. And then Wednesday I had a work meeting, and then Friday, Saturday, Sunday I was out of town again for some family obligations. And then, so that means that I have not flown for the past 2 weekends, so I haven't done any flying. And I already told you about on our way back from being out of town to visit with family on Sunday, had that go around. That was the only vaguely interesting thing aviation related in my life in the past 2 weeks. Really not all that interesting. And yeah, that's about it, to be honest. I don't have a lot of stuff going on. Hopefully I'll be flying a lot this weekend, although the weather is trying to be not super great. It's been beautiful all week, of course, like 70 and sunny yesterday, today 60 and sunny, tomorrow and Sunday like colder, overcast, maybe some cold, gross rain, November stuff. But we'll see how it goes. Looking forward to it. Ready to get back into the air and fly some.
Sounds good. Nowadays we get the news from Radio Roger and the weather from Steph, the weather girl.
Well, only if you're local to me. If you're not local, it's not really going to be useful for you. I would not use that as your local weather report.
But maybe because Steph has always wanted to be a weather person, weather gal.
Should I just do a weather segment now?
Yeah, so we'll incorporate a new weather segment. You can cover the world's weather.
There we go.
Sounds good.
No?
Happy to do that. No.
Yeah, Liz says, okay, we're going 4 hours now.
Only if I can figure out how to pronounce the name of that town in Wales that's like 400 letters.
Oh, gosh.
One weather guy.
Planfair PG, yes,
yeah,
quite right.
Planfair PG, that place.
Huh.
But,
All right.
yeah, sorry, that's kind of disappointing, but I don't have
Well,
much of
no,
anything
it's
going on.
not.
It was a really busy week, and I mentioned I was kind of stressed about it, which is not typical of me, but it was a lot of just a lot of
She's gone.
Well, if you can hear me, Steph, we are very pleased that you could make it for at least some of the show. Sounds like you might have to leave us at some point before we end it. And perhaps that point is right now. Yeah.
Right, so.
Oh, well. Oh, wait, I hear something now.
Someone flushed the toilet. No.
Anyway. Well, Steph, hang in there. Maybe everything will improve, and we're gonna go ahead and move on to. Pardon me. Yeah, have a good race. Thank you, Liz. Yeah, we hope that you have a great race at the undisclosed location, and you'll have to tell us about it. I hear
I'm
you now.
interested to know whether she runs faster after a couple of beers or slower.
Or doesn't care.
Yes. That, after a couple of beers, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Well, Nick, how have you been?
Yes, sir. I have been okay, busy chap, as always. We went across to our venue at Farnborough, the 500th venue, which is the museum that we very kindly been offered to us to use, and had a trial run. So we set everything up, and we got all 4 cameras working and all 4 mics working. So I think we're,
Who's we?
Thunderbird's our go for the 3rd of December. there she's made it back. Well done.
Hey there. Oh, you look clear.
Hi. Do I?
Hi.
Hi.
Because you sound
We
terrible
lost you
to
for a
me.
while.
No, I know. I quit that hotspot and joined a different one.
Ah.
But I think this one is worse. At least
No.
for
Oh,
me.
okay. All right.
It looks. Oh, I don't know.
Let me try the other
Jury's
one
out.
one more time. I'll be back.
Yeah. Okay. So anyway, you were
So
saying.
anyway,
And
we had a
who's this we were talking about here? The royal we?
the fine Mr. Neville Bounds, organised, was doing a lot of the technical, almost all the technical work. I was just helping out where I could, and of course we had the help of Phil Catling and the staff of the Fast Aviation Museum, which was great. And while we were there, we had a word with Graham, who is the curator of the museum, as a little teaser for those from the UK who are able to attend. And while I'm on that subject, we've only got about 5 golden tickets left, so we've nearly filled up the room where we're holding the UK end of the 500th show. So if you were thinking about putting an email in, you're going to have to hurry and fight for one of the last 5 slots. But if it's okay with you, Jeff, I'll play this little video teaser.
Sounds good.
Okay. Hi everybody. We're at the Fast Museum. And very kindly, they've allowed us to use a very special room that's inside the museum. I'm going to introduce to you in a second the chief curator, who is Graham Rood, and he looks after the place and will explain a bit more about the museum, some of the fine exhibits they've got here, and about this particular room.
The building we're in today, and the office we're in today, was originally built in about 1910 when the balloon school and the balloon factory changed and moved to Farnborough. Here in 1918, when the Royal Air Force was formed from the Royal Flying Corps, the Royal Flying Corps and the Royal Aircraft Factory at the time were working, building aeroplanes for the Army, mainly for the Western Front. In 1912, when the Royal Flying Corps was formed, they'd moved from balloons to dirigibles, then onto airplanes, and the Royal Flying Corps had its headquarters here at Farnborough, and the first 5 squadrons were formed at Farnborough before they went off to Netheravon and Montrose and started work and then flew across to the Western Front. The office here was the office of Lord Trenchard, Boom Trenchard, who was the first officer of the Royal Flying Corps. And his job was to make sure that the Royal Flying Corps was fit for purpose. He was a very strong man with strong ideas, and when the early squadrons moved, they moved up the office up to London, and he moved on from there. But this balloon school here is one of the oldest, from 1910 onwards, is one of the oldest aviation buildings, certainly in this country, and I suspect in the world now. When RAE, the Royal Aircraft Establishment, was formed in 1918, it ran right through to 1992 when it was changed and shut down. And one of the things, of course, all scientists and engineers kept were all their records. So all these records were slowly being thrown away, and we formed a trust, the Farnborough Air Sciences Trust, initially as a building preservation, saving the 2 large wind tunnels, the 24-foot and the transonic, and then again the 1917 building, which was the very first wind tunnel building. Having saved the buildings, we then moved on to saving the records of the RAE. Luckily, RAE Library kept a superb historical list of books, photographs, almost everything, and we inherited a lot of those, some by subterfuge and some by actually asking if we could keep them. All those records are now here, or the majority are still here at Farnborough. So we have an enormous archive, photographic archive, film archive, reports archive, bound volumes archive going right back to 1909. And we also have the NACA early work from 1910 onwards. So there is a superb record. We also have a museum which we put up as public access to the artifacts and the records. So people can come to the museum, the media, researchers come and can look through our records. And in the museum, we have a small museum, but we make as much as we can of the displays and spread it from the very early World War I right through to the close of the Cold War. And that still goes on. Artifacts still come in, and we still get a large number of reports. So slowly we're building up our database to as large as we can, particularly ring-fenced really for the Royal Aircraft Establishment records. And that includes other RAEs like Bedford, Aberporth, West Frew, all the testing stations that were used. And also we're looking after some Boscombe Down work as well. So here today, you're sitting on top of an enormous archive of world importance.
Well, I was so grateful to Graham and the staff at the FAST Museum because, I mean, they're basically allowing us to use this wonderfully historic room for, you know, next to nothing. So really appreciate their help. And, of course, we'd like to make it known to the world, this fantastic aviation resource, particularly for those who are interested in research. The records they have there just are remarkable, and they're still working very, very hard to try and, you know, get them all registered. And, you know, they've got huge containers, about 26 enormous containers, pardon me, full of records that they haven't yet been able to tackle yet, because a lot of these organizations just don't want to keep them anymore, and rather than have them destroyed, they're going down to Farnborough. And there's this small handful of volunteers who are working very hard to try and preserve them. It's a fantastic place, and if you do get a chance to come to be part of the 500th, or at any other time, because they're open weekends throughout the year, then please go and pay them a visit. They're a great bunch of people, fantastic level of knowledge, full of scientists and people with really amazing skill and backgrounds in aviation. You know, it's great fun talking to them for a start, but it's going to be good.
Yeah. And we have something just like that at the U.S. venue, except nothing.
Except nothing like that.
The old relics that you'll see are people like me. Yeah. And Liz. She said that, I didn't.
All right.
Okay. Well, excellent. Well, that sounds good. I can't wait. It's only going to be, what, 2 weeks? 2 weeks from today, I think.
Yeah, it is. One more show, and then it's it.
Yeah. Yeah, Liz said we'll be drinking by now.
Well,
Yeah.
way ahead of you there, Liz.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly right.
What were you going to say, Steph, as you're gulping your beer?
I was going to say, I guess we did all right with the timing of the episodes. 498, 499, 500.
Yeah.
Weren't we worried it was going to be a little tricky?
I don't know. I think we had a pretty good grasp on when it probably would occur, and I think
And they could always be $4.99 and a half.
Yeah, I was thinking we were going to have to fudge it a little bit like that. $4.99 and a quarter, $4.99 and a half, $4.99 and 5/8.
We're really more than 500, but hey, you know, officially,
Yes,
I think
exactly.
500.
Yeah,
it's good. That's just a number, right? Yeah, no big deal.
It's a good number.
Yeah, it's a good number. 500,000. And by the way, I overheard.
I worry about your math, Jeff.
Yeah.
500,000?
Oh. Okay, that's not quite right. 500,000. Okay, I tend to exaggerate a bit in so
Did you
many
hear?
ways.
He said he heard.
But I can say that the last time I checked, anyway, that our show, over the length of the show since I started podcasting, I was doing the pod in 2009. A lady, this is an aside, a rabbit hole, a squirrel, sent me an email. I meant to mention this to you, Liz. I don't know if you guys got it or not. Wanting to advertise something, some kind of an app on our show. And she said, I'm interested in advertising on your pod. I went, no, just because you
Never
said
listened to
pod. Forget
Yes,
it.
you definitely can't. Yes. Not if you don't know it's a podcast.
Anyway.
Oh, by the way, the word you were
Yeah.
looking for was millennium. Millennium is
That's
1,000.
it. That's exactly what I
There
meant.
you
I
go.
just
I was
slipped it. Thank you.
kinda- I was on the same wavelength, but
Okay. Anyway,
I was confused.
The
but that's
point
not uncommon.
I was going to try to make, but I'm not doing a very good job of it, is that since 2009, since Catholic Pilot started, I've been using the same company to host our files, and we're over 8 million downloads total
Wow.
from the span of time. So, it's not bad. Not bad.
that is
healthy,
not bad at all.
respectable.
And then she said, by the way, the lady that called it a pod said, through my research, I noticed that you're in the top 0.5% of all podcasts in the world. And was wondering if you might want to or be interested in doing this. And I thought, ooh, that's kind of cool. So, yeah, we're doing all right. We're doing all right. Okay. But we don't need to boast. We just need to have fun and talk aviation and beer and running and whatever else we can think of that we want to. Yeah, nonsense. Yeah, that's for sure. Gubby says that's half a bajillion. Yeah, right.
Yes,
All right.
yeah, it certainly is.
So speaking of Gubby, I'll just thank you for the great segue there, Gubby. I was, as I said, I've been flying a lot lately. I flew a trip earlier in the week, was off a day, and then I went back out again on Wednesday through, well, I'm still on that trip. Wednesday, I'm day 3 right now, Friday of 4, just one leg back from Houston tomorrow. I'm in Houston right now. But on the first day of the trip, I was in Montreal, Canada. It's been quite a number of years since I've been there. I'm not sure exactly how long ago it was, but we were having a discussion about that. Who's we? Well, we, yeah. Were all the folks that showed up for an impromptu, somewhat, feedback, and Liz is trying to find the overlay. Okay. Well, why don't you pop that up there and let me play a little bit of audio that I recorded at our meetup. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome to the Montreal meetup of the year. The only one of the year, anyway. So I'm here in Montreal on a great layover, and we're at the
Three Brewers restaurant.
That's the English version. I was hoping that somebody would say the French.
Les Trois Brasseurs. Uh-oh. No, lost that one? No, I think we got it. Les Trois Brasseurs.
I had a technical
Okay,
moment.
well, anyway, I'm sure that sounded great. I didn't hear it.
My
But
earbuds
anyway,
fell
we're
out of my
here,
ears.
And we were drinking great beer at the Three Brewers and whatever he said in French. And we are talking smack about aviation and all this stuff. And got to meet some, well, I was going to say something really complimentary, but that would be dishonest. No, anyway, these are great people that I'm meeting here. And I'm going to let each of them tell you who they are and a little bit about themselves. And then we're going to pass it on to each of them, and then we're going to come back to me, and then I'm going to throw it back to you all in the studio. So here we go. We're going to start with Dan.
Good evening, APG listeners. I'm Dan. I am, I'm not a pilot, simply an aviation enthusiast, and happy to meet Captain Jeff. And honestly, I wish Captains Nick and Steph and Rick were here to see us as well. But hey, we're having some good beers and enjoying the cold weather in northern Canada here. I'd like to wish everybody a happy 500th episode when that comes around in the next couple of weeks. Here we go to participant number 2.
Hi, I'm Gubby, or Captain Gub. I'm in the Royal Canadian Air Force, but an avid listener of APG. Jeff is actually shorter in real life. Shorter? I expected you to be a 6'5". I mean, you're very suave, sophisticated man. But so I've driven here from Ottawa, or Ottawa as they call it over there, and loving the show. I would add to Dan's comments, it's a shame the rest of the crew aren't here because I'd love to meet them all. Looking forward to some nice food and some more camaraderie. It's a shame I can't drink because I've got to drive. Lovely to meet everyone and widen the circle of my friends.
Hey everyone, this is Alex. I'm unfortunately not a pilot, although there's a handful of hours on a Cessna, but hey. I'm a simulator engineer and proud AvGeek, so also proud listener of the Airline Pilot Guys since the early days. So it's awesome to meet Jeff and see him in the cold wide north, and I'm looking forward to the rest of the night.
And they are not kidding when they say cold. And I guess this is just a little taste of what's to come. Yeah, balmy. Yeah, it was cold to me. And it didn't help that when I left the hotel, I did not initialize my flight management system. And I ended up starting off at 90 degrees off. And I'm not talking about temperature here. I'm talking about heading and direction. And so it took me a bit longer to get here than I was expecting. I was out there for about a half an hour with no gloves or, without a proper coat or whatever. Anyway, so that doesn't matter. I made it, and I'm so glad I did because these people here that you just heard from are awesome people, fantastic people, and several of them, like Alex, has sent in feedback in the past, and Gubby has been trying to drum up some interest in a Ottawa layover, meetup, but apparently nobody wants to hang out with Gubby, and actually now, after having spent some time with him, I understand why. No, I'm just kidding. And I'm not going to wow, the little verbal or nonverbal communication he just gave me there. You're number 1, huh?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, and I'm a little taken back and hurt that they mentioned that they wish that the other, co-hosts were here. I'm thinking, well, what about me? I mean, come on, I'm here. I love you, Jeff. Yeah, thanks. Yeah, come on. I'm very vulnerable right now. You know that. So anyway, we're having a great time, obviously, and we're waiting for our food to arrive. And I thought it would be a good time to do a quick audio. And I'll try to remember to get a picture as well, so we can show all of this to you all while we record the next episode. So that's it from me, and now we're going to send it back to the most important people, Dr. Steph, yes, Miami Rick, and Captain Nick, and Liz, of course, in the background, probably saying some really rude things in my ear.
Size matters.
All right.
Good finish.
I'm just going to say Liz is by far the most important of any of us, so let's just set that record straight.
Absolutely.
That is true.
Yes.
Anyway, what a great bunch of guys. I mean, every time I have a meetup, meeting the people in our community is just so overwhelmingly positive and amazing. Really, stimulating. Wow. That was from Liz. And yeah.
So actually, listening to that, I was really bummed that I was not there with you all.
Oh man, it would have been.
That would have been fun.
They would have been really.
They would have been really disappointed with my French skills.
And that's right. You know what?
Maybe
Steph,
hopefully more impressive.
At least you would be like making an attempt. I can't say anything in French, and I kind of felt like that stupid American that only can speak English and just barely, right, Nick? But they were all
good fist of it.
They were all saying things to the waiter, in French, and I'm going, okay. Well, I have no idea what you're saying, but that's good. Anyway, we had a great time, and poutine was eaten. That's for sure. I had a kind of a combo what do you call it, fish and chips, but the chips were poutine instead. It was perfect. It was good. Anyway, great to see you all. And Steph, sounds like you need to leave.
I'm going to, yes, a brief pause on my side of the thing, my
Okay.
side of the podcast here. I'm going to go run my 5K trail race, and hopefully I will rejoin. I don't think this particular restaurant will be open when I get back, so it might just be, I'm not sure what's going to happen. I'll have to figure this out. It's going to be tricky, but we'll make an attempt and see how it goes. Might just be voiceless, or voice, disembodied voice without video.
Use your watch. See if you can make contact
one?
with your watch.
Oh boy.
Which
Well,
one?
I'd
Both
use
of
the
them.
Apple Watch myself, but feel free to try
this
what
one. This one
Yeah.
not going to work so much.
No,
All right.
no.
Yeah. Oh, Nip
Alrighty.
says your Dr. Steph, your hair looks good.
Thank you. I'm about to put it back in a ponytail, so the next time, if you see me on the video on the next part of the show, it's probably not going to look as good.
Oh. Okay. Well, we hope that you can make it back, Steph, and
Yes,
if
I
not,
hope so too. I'm going to
good
make
luck.
all attempts. I will let you know. Keep you
Okay.
appraised of my progress here.
And we'll
All right.
save that feedback that we were talking about.
Yes, absolutely. I do.
All
All
right.
right. I'll see you in a bit.
Have a
Bye.
good run.
Thank you.
Bye.
You know, for Steph, that's just like a walk around the mall for us.
I know. It's like nothing.
She'll go off and do 5K and
She'll
come
probably
back.
be
She
drinking
won't-
her beer while she's drinking. I mean,
Absolutely. She
while
won't
she's
even
running.
have broken a sweat.
Yep. So, Liz, yes, I do want to talk about the 500th. We've been alluding to it a few times here on this show because we're getting awfully darn close. This is episode 498. So we have one more episode before the big 500. And if you're interested in coming to join us on this side of the pond in the United States of America, specifically in Georgia, in the Atlanta area at the Atlanta International Airport at the Renaissance Concourse Hotel, please do. You don't need no stinking tickets here. You know, you can just show up. And
you'd need a ticket, wouldn't you?
Yeah, walk-ins are welcome. Yeah. And we have a little bit more space available to us. And so, yeah, we hope that if you're listening and you want to join us, that we hope that you'll do that. And if Canadians can come, well, I don't know. Canadians, yeah, I guess, yeah, we'll let them in.
Oh, is Fred going to come?
I think so.
Wow, man of mystery.
Lots of great people are going to be there. So we're going to have social time. So our plan is to start recording at 1 o'clock, 1300, and then do that for about 3 hours, like as we normally do. And then at some point near the end of that, or maybe right after we finish, we're going to have some drinks and some hors d'oeuvres. And then we're going to, just hang out and talk about podcasting and aviation and beer and whatever else, we end up talking about. So if you want to do as Liz and I are doing, and others as well, you can book a room at the Renaissance Concourse, and we have a link. I'm guessing that it's still good. I don't know if there was an Okay, it's still there. And you can get a special rate. And if you call them, just ask for what's the formal name? It's like APG or Airline Pilot Guy Show 500th Episode Celebration or something like that. So if you get any of those words out of your mouth, 500th episode, Airline Pilot Guy, I'm sure they'll be able to find the special code. Yeah. And which email, Liz, the feedback? Okay. 500 at airlinepilotguy.com if you have questions about how to do that. 500 at airlinepilotguy.com. And basically, it's just, it's not really that big of a deal. We're just kind of getting together. They're going to be over there in the UK, and we're going to be over here in the US, and we're going to kind of, look at various, favorite little snippets of the previous episodes, memories, and have fun. That's basically what we're doing. Not memories. Thank you, Liz. I hope I didn't mispronounce that. Sorry. Yeah, anyway. And we could talk about favorite... Oh, never mind. What else? Anything else I should mention about the 500th, Liz? Oh, I'm not looking at what Neil's saying. Yeah, don't mention my name, Neil. just a tip for you there. You may not, they might not have any rooms at all. In fact, I need to, that reminds me, I need to get my room. So.
You haven't got yourself a room yet.
Yeah. So we're going to be there, or several of us will be there Thursday night and Friday night. And if you'd like to get a room there, just get a room. We'll have a link in the show notes. And let's see, last episode, the title was 3 Little Pigs, because 3 little boars or pigs got done run over by a Dornier airplane that kind of looked like a wolf. And so Nick took that suggestion and ran with it. And, well, it should be in there, I think. Or did I not get that in there? Oh, that's all right. I know what to do, Liz. I'll just, yeah, it's probably my fault. I did something wrong, I'm sure. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen, and that way everybody can see it. Yeah, I probably didn't get it in there. Sorry. Share screen. Yes, that is. Can't tell you how many. Share. There we go. Can you see it? Oh, why not?
Not yet.
There we go. All right. There is that beautiful artwork of the.
He's a fine-looking pig, isn't he?
It's that, and with tire marks on his belly.
Yes, just slightly.
And very clever. The 3 Little Pigs story, and the straw, the House of Straw and the House of Brick, and very cool. And then that mean old airplane that looks like a wolf. In fact, look at the registration on it. Very clever. Whiskey Oscar Lima Foxtrot Wolf. And the bent, my favorite part of it is that bent nose gear after hitting the pigs and killing them.
Yeah, yes. I must admit, killing 3 pigs with 1 nose wheel is pretty good going, don't you think?
That is pretty good, actually.
Yeah. He must have had to swerve around the runway to get all 3.
Biggle says, "Remind me, I need HP sauce."
Yeah, well done, Biggles.
Anyway, so very, very wonderful artwork. You're getting better and better at it.
Don't say that, because every time it means I've got to do something
that's
even
right.
better.
You'll have to spend even more time on subsequent.
This is why I need easy ones.
Yeah. Anyway, so we like to talk about the previous cover art, and because that's part of our shtick on this thing. What time? Coffee fun time? Okay, hang on. Let me see if I can find my sound playing app. Here we go. I found it. Here we go.
Johnny, how much more coffee? No thanks.
Sounds good to me. I love coffee. I love tea. I love the APG community. Coffee and tea and the Java and me. A cup, a cup, a cup, a cup, a cup. All right, that's Jeff Smith singing the APG Java Jive, which means it's our time to talk about the Coffee Fund Cadre, the Coffee Bar Club, your way to support the show financially. And we have a couple of different ways to do that. One is the old OG method, the Coffee Fund Classic method. And since the last episode, I misspelled your name, Chris. Let me start with Richard Adams, Eric Grovasbach, Jenny Parkinson in Rome, Alex Lehman, Dan Mitchell. Those 2 gentlemen were at the aforementioned Montreal meetup. And Vriss Randall. No, it's not Vriss Randall. It's Chris Randall. Sorry about that. I did that very, very quickly right before the show started. So anyway, that's the original way to do it, like a one-time donation or even a recurring donation if you'd like. And we also have another way for you to participate in the Coffee Fund, and that is via the Patreon. You can become a patron of the show via Patreon. And these aren't 2 new producers. They were both regular producers, and they both upped their pledges, and now they're in the executive producer level. And they're both coming to the the 500th episode celebration, recording and celebration. Tillman in the UK, and Carrie, who lives in the Charlotte area, is going to be here with us in Atlanta. And his lovely wife, yes. Anyway, can't wait to see you, Carrie, and I'm sure that Tillman will be met with much love in Farnborough. All right. So anyway, if you're interested in supporting us, and by the way, thank you so much to all of you who have been making special donations to help us celebrate the 500th episode. It's very, very kind of you. And yeah, hopefully I'll get to see all of you in a couple of weeks. All right, let's move on now with feedback.
Captain, incoming message.
Okay, we're going to start with number 4. This is feedback from Becky. And she said, this is so old. This is old, so maybe you already did this one. I don't think we did. We may have, but I don't think so. Who is being more or less reasonable in this one? And she's talking about this YouTube video. And she says, thanks to the team for all of your work to make the podcast. I look forward to it every week. My closest airport is SBD, which I believe is San Bernardino, California. Do you ever fly into there? Or here? No, I don't.
No?
I'd love to.
Do I?
Oh, well, wait a minute. Hang on. Let me do a... Yeah, is someone... Liz, if you can do a search and make sure SBD is San Bernardino, because if that's the case, that used to be Norton Air Force Base. I for some reason, I was thinking of a different location in California. And San Bernardino? Yes, Becky, I do. And I've done it within the last couple of years. I flew 2 MD-88s to their retirement at San Bernardino, and sadly for me, I didn't get to lay over there at all at San Bernardino. They put us in a van very quickly and carted us off to the Los Angeles International Airport, where we were jetted back to Atlanta in an Airbus. So, yeah. But if I ever get back out there again, Becky, I'll have to give you a call. All right. So let's play this video that she sent. And now I'm going to have to do some juggling to make sure that I find the right buttons to push. And now I'm going to look at 498 videos, and I think I found it. Here we go. Play. Why is it not playing?
45. There's traffic behind you waiting to depart. If you're not ready, I'm going to bring you onto the runway to vacate up 34.
Okay, just as a point of order, we'll just wait for the cabin to be ready. It takes about 2 minutes from the time that it's all gentle.
Okay, you need to enter runway 28, please. Turn right onto runway 34 to vacate.
Stand by, it's Spirit 845.
Spirit 845. Proceed onto runway 28 now and vacate right onto runway 34. There is traffic behind you waiting to depart.
Yeah, I've just got a phone call, someone. That's Spirit 845, we are actually fully ready.
Seabird 845, line up runway 28 and wait.
Line up runway 28, Spirit 845.
And for future reference, Seabird 845, I suggest you will advise the ground controller that you're unable to take departure yet, and you should really be taxiing out to Echo 1 when you're not ready for departure, because there is traffic behind waiting that is ready.
Stand by.
Seabird 845, are you fully ready for departure?
Spirit 845, we're just doing the checks whilst you keep talking over there. Stand by.
Okay, negative. Turn right, please, onto runway 34. That's the third time I've asked you to vacate onto runway 34. If you're not ready, turn right onto runway 34.
Madam, we are fully ready. We're just trying to complete the checklist when you just interrupted our checks. Stand by.
Negative. Turn right onto runway 34. I've asked you 3 times now. Turn right to vacate onto runway 34.
Runway 145 Yankee, Roger, copy. The LSA will not be protected.
Oh, that's the ground 145.
Acceptable when I instruct you 3 times to vacate because there is traffic behind you.
Spirit 845, Roger, what would you like us to do now, madam?
As I said, I'll let you depart at wind 250 degrees, 17 knots, runway 28, clear takeoff.
Clear takeoff, speed 845.
After departure, Dublin Control gave the pilot a phone number to call on the ground at Heathrow. 2 aircraft had to go around, and something else that I wasn't reading quickly enough. Sorry about the volume there. I'll try to bump that up in the audio-only version of our show. Okay, Liz?
Yeah.
Yeah, so, wow. That was... I want to ask you, Nick.
Me?
Yeah, about this. I didn't think their responses or reactions to the requests and instructions from the controlling authority were appropriate.
It's interesting, isn't it? BA have a system whereby they get their final numbers for I think it's their load sheet numbers late on. They sent to them via ACARS or some. I mean, I'm thinking back a few years now, so forgive me if I'm a little bit out of date. And they type them in, and then they go. Now, sometimes the office who organises the sending of this and the calculation of this is a little bit late. So BA will traditionally join the queue of aircraft, and if they get to the front and they haven't got their numbers, then they will, say, well, we can't go, we haven't got our numbers yet. And unless there's somewhere convenient to stick them to one side while they get their numbers and then let them rejoin the queue, it all becomes a little bit difficult. And I'm going to be just a little bit political here and just say some of the crews will think up good reasons why they might want to delay a bit. They won't call it waiting for their numbers. They will call it something else. Now, I'm not speaking for every pilot in BA or every aircraft or whatever, but they do have a little bit of a reputation. So this sounds very much like they were waiting for their numbers. And the girl, I think quite rightly, said, well, get out of the way because get on the runway, taxi clear because there's someone waiting to go behind. Because I suspect this isn't the first time she's had this problem with this particular airline. So, quite rightly. And then, of course, once they had got their numbers and were then trying to do their final checklists, she was engaging them in a very lengthy conversation and stopping them from doing their checklist. But if you haven't done all your checklists, you're not ready.
Exactly.
So they were never actually really ready for takeoff. They tried to play the we're ready card, but they weren't.
And it's your fault because you keep talking and won't
exactly
let us
right.
finish.
No,
but as you said,
right.
if you're not finished with your checklist as you're taking the runway, then you shouldn't be taking the runway.
Yeah, you're not ready. Absolutely. No. So I don't have a lot of sympathy for the crew, the BA crew in this case. I understand it's tough for them because, it's not really their fault. It's their company's procedure that is the thing that's holding them up. And they're just doing their best not to delay their flight overly. But if it's just a case of taxiing around in a circle, basically coming off the runway, rejoining and coming back on again, it's going to take like 5 minutes. What's the problem? So
I think it kind of developed into kind of a pissing match or a power play.
Absolutely. And in this case, air traffic hold the hammer here. So you're really on a hiding to nothing. Once air traffic have told you to clear their runway, you really have got to get clear of their runway. You could try and argue the point once, but if they're insistent, then they are the ones with the authority. So BA, obviously, whoever this crew were, thought, we'll just push a bit harder, see if we can get away with it. It's only Dublin after all. So I think Dublin would have been quite rightly a bit upset with them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was kind of getting upset. Now, it doesn't, and hopefully you don't take this the wrong way. We're not saying that that every BA pilot and every BA flight this happens. That's not what we're saying at all. I mean, regardless of who it is and what airline and what pilots or whatever, any pilot out there that does this kind of malarkey should stop doing it. Just be ready. American Airlines had that same type of system, like constantly in Atlanta. They'd be in the queue and they go, yeah, we're not ready. We have to pull over to the side because we're waiting for our numbers. I guess they finally got that worked out several years ago. And we weren't using that kind of system at all. And when we did start to use the kind of system where you get the numbers on your ACARs, we always made sure that we had it when we were still at the gate before we pushed back, or shortly after we pushed back. And there are circumstances where, when you're taxiing out or whatever, you're still waiting for those numbers. But, sometimes you just have to be proactive and say, hey, look, I don't think we're going to be ready. Can we pull off to the side, or what would you like us to do? And I think that most of us are like that, reasonable about, not like making it a nightmare for everybody else.
Yeah, absolutely. Yes. I think it's just the consolidation of the flight and the fact that while that's going on, the aircraft can be taxiing out of the runway. So it gives them an extra 10 minutes to close the flight off and get everything sorted. Unless, of course, you find yourself taking a little longer than that, and then you're really going to, delay the flight because they're not going to be able to get airborne without those figures.
Right.
Anyway. So,
well, they will, but they won't be legal.
Yeah. Oh, yes. Yes. Very good point. So, it's an interesting one, isn't it? And sometimes we have a bit of a whinge at the air traffickers, but today I think it's definitely the flying crew were the ones. But I suspect these particular flight crew are probably pulling their hair out by now, because I suspect this video's been around for an awful long time.
Yeah. So to answer your question, Becky, we kind of believe that the tower controller was being more reasonable in this situation.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. Let us continue. I copy that, Liz. Thank you. We are going to continue with some more feedback. This from Scott. Close call on the tarmac. Okay. Okay. So Liz is warning me. There is some language in this video clip, and I am told to scroll to the 2-minute 45-second mark. We've had video from this guy before, Aussie Man, he calls himself, and he's hilarious and a very funny guy. So let me go ahead and share this here. Let me remove this one here, and then share and video file, and see if I can get this thing going, and then quickly stop it, and then get to the right location.
Okie dokie, pig in the pokey. Today we're...
Oiky doiky, pig in a pokey. I love that. We're going to go scroll it over here to... Yes, sir?
No, I was just saying excellent.
Yeah.
Very
what was it,
funny
245?
Yep.
Okay, here we go. Right about here.
Okay, good work, mate. Come in, control tower. FYI, my plane is stuck on runway 3. I'm experiencing technical difficulties. Over. Come again, pilot. Which runway did you say? Over. Copy, tower. That's runway 3. Why do you ask? Belay that question, tower. I may have answered it myself. Also, we're going to need a rescue vehicle to runway 3. And a clean pair of pants. Over. Copy that. I've got pants in the car you can borrow. Over. Oh, no.
Okay.
Yeah. Not the first time we see this one either, but boy, that guy died.
I thought we had seen that as well, but it was.
Yeah.
I thought it was good. It was funny enough to play again.
Absolutely.
So, why don't you describe the scene to those who are not watching the video?
Oh, absolutely. Well, you've got the bloke who is the leader of what looks like a formation of 4 aircraft which are lining to take off. And I think it's one of the Red Bull Air Races or something similar to that. And he has got a fault. Okay, so when they start the race, they're all on the runway. He lifts his canopy up as an indication.
So he aborts his takeoff.
Yeah, well, he doesn't even start rolling. He realizes he can't go. He lifts his canopy up as an indication to the other aircraft that he's stuck on the runway. And he's in one of those little tail dragger fast racing aircraft, single engine prop. And the two guys either side of him, they go raw enough to start their race. And behind him, a few 100 feet behind him, is a fourth aeroplane who comes hammering down the runway. And I don't know.
Obviously, he doesn't know.
Yeah, perhaps because the angle of his nose, he can't see him very clearly, but doesn't realise till the very last moment that this bloke's still stationary in front of him. So he starts to swerve to one side, but he can't get far enough across the runway, and his wing hits the back of this little racer. And if it weren't for the fact that the fuselage kind of covered the back of this bloke's head, he literally would have taken his head off. It's just terrifying. Anyway, a lot of damage to the bloke who's sitting on the runway, a lot of damage to the bloke that's hit him, who goes spiraling off down the runway. I don't think anyone was badly hurt, but he must have come as a complete shot. And the lovely thing is the camera view is of this poor bloke's face throughout.
Yeah.
Golly, does he look hacked off?
Yeah, he's shaking his head back and forth like, I can't believe that guy just did that, hit me like that.
And that lovely Aussie commentary.
I'm going to need some new pants.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it came so close to killing him. It could have been, the last thing he'd ever seen, but in which case we'd have probably had a completely different view on the camera, which would have not been very nice. But boy, that was a close thing.
Yeah,
close
and if that had happened, that guy would never have known it. It would have been over like that. I mean, he didn't know that guy was coming at him, I think, until he took his canopy off. He was going pretty fast. I mean, they're powerful things, those Red Bull racers, or, I'm not too sure what aircraft type they are. But and even if it was Red Bull, I think it might have been, but don't know for sure. But it's great. So
that was obviously their procedure, by the way. If you can't move, you lift your canopy, because he did it quite deliberately and did it quite early. But I suspect because of the tail position and the high nose of the guy behind him, he might not have been able to see him very easily.
Yeah. I would imagine, because we're not hearing their communications because we're just listening to Aussie Man and his commentary. But I'm wondering if he said, "Hey, I'm not rolling. I've aborted or have stopped or whatever." And
good point.
The other person didn't hear him say that or something. I don't know.
No, in which case you really want to worry about you.
Yeah.
Not only am I sitting here not moving, I'm shouting at you at the same time.
Yeah. Well, speaking of worrying, we should worry about this guy who's up next with some audio feedback. And now, please tell me, Liz, that I did remember to put an overlay of this airplane that he refers to in his... I probably didn't.
Is that the Charlie?
I think so, yeah.
As Pilot Pip refers to it
as? So let me do this. How am I going to do this? I can share... this, yeah, I can do this. Okay. Go back here. We're professionals here at the APG, just so you know.
Yeah, trouble is we're not professional podcasters.
Yeah, we're not professional podcasters or broadcasters.
I'm not professional.
Yeah, that's a good idea. Anymore. Or I could just, I'm going to play this. I've gone this far, Liz. Here we go. There. Now, can you see that? Yeah, you can see that. Okay. What a beautiful airplane that is. All right. And it has some audio feedback to go along with it. All right. Let's move this thing out of the way so I can get back to my page and push this button.
Hi, everyone. Jeff and gang. It's Pip here. Just taking some time out from my type rating course over here in Columbus. It's a beautiful, sunny, bright, crisp, full day. A full day. I would have normally said autumn day, but I've been here so long I'm becoming one of you. if you'll have me, of course.
I don't think they want
anyway,
you. No.
Some episodes ago, maybe 4, 5, 6 episodes ago, you were talking about an incident involving a biz jet, runway upset, caught some jet blast, and I can't remember the details, but the conversation turned to wingtip strikes, and the question was asked: can business jets or smaller jets like that, have wingtip strikes? Are their wings long enough? Are they big enough? How does it all work? And the answer, very much, as I'm learning these few weeks, is yes. And especially on the aircraft I'm now learning to fly, the Challenger 350, is very much a feature of the training. It's a handful. There's a reason why they called it the Challenger. It's very challenging to fly. It's a bit of a beast, a bit of a handful and a half, to say the least. Not a pilot's aeroplane when it comes to hand flying. I've got a feeling it's going to be a mostly autopilot on experience. But anyway, wingtip strikes, or wing strikes at least, are very much a feature of the training. We've already had several red screens of death in the sim when we've been practicing various maneuvers. So the problem is, as I say, it's not a wingtip strike, it's a wing strike on the Challenger. And the problem is, if you take a look at a picture of the Challenger 350, you'll notice on the underside of the wings these 3 large, we call them canoes, but I suppose technically it's the flap fairings. It's like covers on the underside of the wings that cover up all the flap mechanism. And they stick down quite far. And when you extend the flaps go backwards and they go down, and these flap fairings get quite close to the ground. So when you're landing, the geometry is such that as you flare, those canoes get a little bit closer to the ground, and if you have any bank angle in and flare too much, then they get very close to the ground. And actually, you've only probably got about 6 or 7 degrees bank angle to play with before you risk getting a strike. So it's not much at all. So, sorry, I'm out of breath. I've been walking uphill. So there's a lot of training goes into that, making sure you're kind of flaring in the right way. It's quite a flat landing. You don't want to flare too much. And especially if you've got a sporty crosswind. One of the reasons why the aircraft has such a pathetic crosswind limit for landing, only 24 knots, 28 for takeoff, but for landing it's only 24. But the other real danger is on the V1 cuts, an engine failure at V1. And that's where you have to be really on the ball. And that's where we've had the red screens of death in the sim so far. So you're barreling down the runway, particularly if you're dealing with a crosswind, 15 plus knot crosswind, which would be quite normal. And if the downwind engine fails, if you've got a crosswind from the left, let's say, and the right engine fails, then if you don't reverse the ailerons very quickly and stick in pretty much full rudder, then that engine failure is going to force the right wing up. The left wing will tip, and within half a second, one of those canoes has struck the ground and you're in a whole world of hurt. So it's a really, really very tricky aircraft in that regard. But other than that, the training is going pretty well. Nice to be, new challenges. It's kind of a bit clunky. Certainly doesn't look quite as impressive as the Lemon avionics and flight deck, but crucially, it's much, much bigger. Plenty of room to stretch out the old legs, and it'll be a nice, comfortable ride for those longer 7.5 hour flights that I suspect I'll be doing. Anyhows, nice to be listening to the show. I've managed to catch up on a couple of episodes this week. Keep it coming. Looking forward to perhaps seeing some of you in December at APG 500. Woo! Until then, take it easy. Bye.
All right. Thank you, Pip.
That's really interesting, because I fondly imagined, with being having the engines mounted on the fuselage very close to the centre line of the aircraft, that there wouldn't be that much of an asymmetric problem. But obviously there is. It's surprising, isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
Or perhaps not. I don't know.
It varies with the type of T-tail jet with the tail-mounted engines. Yeah, yes, I am a T-tail specialist. Thank you, Liz. Yeah, it's you still have to put in a reasonably large amount of rudder to keep the jet going straight down the runway, and I don't think it's as critical in my jet as it is for the one that Pip is training on now, as far as the wing strike kind of threat. I think it takes a considerably more amount of bank to worry about scraping the wing.
Yeah, I guess we were very sensitive to it having underwing pods, which didn't have a great deal of clearance, so you had to be very careful with your angle of bank on a touchdown. So we never did a wing down procedure, for example, if we're in a crosswind. It was only ever the crab technique. We had to be very careful when kicking off the drag that we kept the wings as level as possible as you fled. But their wing, of course, is bolted to the belly of the aircraft, so it's about as low as it gets. And they are large flap fairings, aren't they? They're at least as deep as half the undercarriage, so you've only got all what looks like, probably less than indeed, the height of the wheels between your flap fairings and the runway, so you don't need much bank on at all to start scraping those along the ground.
Yeah, the gear doesn't really...
I hope they're nice and cheap, so that, if you do, they don't cost much to replace.
Probably, 5-10 million or so? I don't know. Probably more than that. I have no idea. Each.
Neither have I.
Yeah.
But, it is. I think it's a great looking airplane. It's sleek, and it might be a little old fashioned compared with the Lemon, but I'm sure Pip's going to see some interesting destinations, and a variety is the spice of life for me. Keep your aircraft types moving, adding to your license, making you a more employable person, and of course it keeps the variety of things you experience continually changing. It's great.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, well, I think now would be a good time for us to do this week's installment of the Old Pilot's Plain Tales.
Okay.
And this one, good, a treat. I have not listened to it yet. It is another edition of the RAF Form 14. This one happens to be Volume 12. So, take it away.
The Old Pilot's Plain Tales, RAF Form 414, Volume 12. Year 2 of porridge. That's an old term used by prisoners to describe their time inside jail, but was very apt, as many of my fellow flying instructors and I had not volunteered for this particular job, and it was a long one, 4 years long. We kept it to ourselves, though, as it was hard not to smile at the unending enthusiasm of new students as they arrived. As I leaf through the pages of my logbook, I'm surprised now at the variety of people I flew with. I had my regular students, of course, and the one assigned to me especially being a fine chap who was about as far removed from me as could be found. He was a very keen sportsman and the RAF orienteering champion, which is a bit like mixing the torture of cross-country running with the confusion of map reading, and not a big drinker. I would have run to get away from a burning aeroplane or into the bar for a free drink, but that was about it. I flew with quite a few pilots senior to me who were brushing up on their skills before returning to flying duty, as well as air cadets and non-flying RAF personnel who were on jollies, plus a whole host of others. We visited various airfields all around the UK, and in only a few weeks I'd been to Abingdon, Chivenor, Honington, Llanbedr, Wittering, Liverpool, Ronaldsway, Walton, Lossiemouth, Shawbury, Kinloss, Coningsby, Lakenheath and Church Fenton, to name just a few. There were also some flights where my newly acquired instructional skills weren't required. Our base was, for a reason I can no longer recall, putting up a 16-ship formation, call sign palm tree, after the flora that adorned the flying school's badge. I think it was a diamond of 4 ships, and I was helping out somewhere down the back. There were a few practices, and then the actual event when 16 Hawks, plus a whipper-in, photography ship, and spare were to darken the sky over some dignitary somewhere. The briefing had already been a shambles. Everyone had supposedly assembled, and just before the start, the chief flying instructor strode in and shouted, "Palm tree check-in." For some reason, each individual 4-ship had been named after the D-Day landing beaches, so it went, Sword check, 2, 3, 4. Omaha check, 2, 3, 4. Gold check, 2, 3, 4. Juno check, 2, 3, 4. All neat and very military. Just then, 2 more pilots wandered in late. "Who are you?" the CFI demanded. Gold 2 and Juno 3, sir." To much very poorly suppressed laughter, as the efforts made by their comrades to hide their absence were revealed to a red-faced and furious wing commander. The briefing continued, with a mention to all that on return everyone would, unusually, fly right-hand circuits to reduce the noise over a local village. The start of the trip was also far from auspicious, as when flying a holding pattern with this big formation over land, the leader discovered that he needed to fly through a tight gap between the 1,000-foot cloud base and some high ground, a technique nicknamed letterboxing. Not a problem for a single aircraft, but the 15 aircraft following him were all flying a little bit below him, steps down. The lowest was my old friend DL, at the back of the rearmost 4-ship. He was concentrating on the jet pipe of the aircraft a few feet in front, when suddenly everyone around him scattered like confetti, and DL looked ahead to see a ridge of Welsh granite staring at him in the face. Somehow, after negotiating this unexpected obstacle, everyone scrabbled to get back together, with the leader completely unaware of the debacle that was going on behind. After completing the flypast, our redoubtable leader returned everyone back to RAF Valley and lined them up on runway 32 for their usual break into the circuit, remembering, of course, that they were going to turn right. He ordered all the 4 ships into line astern and then moved them from box 4 into echelon left. All sort of went well, considering that in living memory no one had ever done a circuit to that side of the airfield before, until the last 4-ship. Perhaps the leader of that bunch hadn't been paying attention at the briefing, or the fact that everyone else ahead of him had broken to the right. He, however, did what he always did, and pulled into his usual hard-climbing left turn, right into the other 3 aircraft in close formation on his wing. His number 2 was faced with a wall of red and white hawk, and bunted hard out of the way, then gingerly pulled up and followed his leader. Number 3 pushed down harder, and number 4 hit the end stops in his bunt. After this shambles and a few choice swear words, everyone pulled up and followed him around. Number 4 was a fiery ex-Jaguar pilot who was ready to flatten his leader, but was gently restrained by the station commander who'd seen it all from the ground and promised to deal with him. The very next day was a much bigger affair. Based on the success of the earlier mass formation, no one being killed, we were going for the big one, a 34-ship. This was to celebrate RAF Valley being granted the freedom of Anglesey. Freedom is an ancient tradition which goes back to Roman times, when soldiers were usually forbidden to enter a city in uniform or with weapons. The freedom allows military organizations the privilege of marching into a place with drums beating, colours flying, and bayonets fixed. And in this case, for the RAF apparently, aircraft flying. 34 Hawks were needed to make up the letters M-O-N. For those in the know, Mon is Welsh for Anglesey. But we wondered what all the English speakers would make of a big, badly spelt now flying around the island. Each letter took off in turn and held over the ocean to the south, waiting for the order to form up. The N consisted of 10 aircraft, and the fine chap in charge had decided to put all 10 into a long echelon while he hung around waiting. Now, 10 aircraft in echelon isn't an easy thing to fly. Any little wobble at the start becomes amplified down the echelon until number 10 is going up and down like a bride's nightie. The cloud base was little changed from the day before, when the letterbox trick had been played. And when the formation ran out of space and needed to turn, the intrepid leader rolled everyone into a turn towards the echelon. This meant that the entire formation, like the wing of a huge aircraft, had to go down to stay in position. The number 10 position was, you guessed it, DL. He was holding close formation and looking up the long line of aircraft towards his leader, but in his back seat was a young student, along for the ride. As the formation banked, DL was forced lower and lower to stay in position, until he heard a strangled squawk from the back seat. They had dipped so low that the wave tops were nearly lapping over his wingtip. Luckily, before he came home with a few Anglesey pollocks sticking out of his nablight, they straightened up again. Mon duly flew over Mon, and again all came home safely. In my case, all that good practice wasn't put to waste, as shortly after I was asked to lead a missing man flypast of the base chapel to mark the funeral of a fellow member of the RAF who had sadly passed away. Before long, that first course came to an end, and we watched our students get presented with their wings and then joined them for a mess dinner, which was quite riotous. They went on to more exciting things. We had to stay behind, and before long their faces, now looking considerably happier, had been replaced by a new bunch of keen, eager, and slightly nervous ones. The cycle was to continue for several years, but there was an occasional break to the routine. One was a jolly with our squadron boss to Bitburg, a USAF base in Germany, for a weekend spent driving a borrowed car up and down the beautiful Moselle, drinking fine Riesling, whilst munching on the fresh asparagus crop gently poached in butter, and admiring the many castles that lean over that mighty river. Then came an unexpected treat. I'd been given a general war appointment notice. Someone had apparently dreamed up the concept of recent frontline pilots in training roles returning to their squadrons in times of war. In practice, this meant that whenever my old squadron went on a major Takival exercise, I would be recalled to fly with them for the duration. Woohoo! Phantoms, here I come! With all my flying gear piled up on my motorbike, I headed up to Scotland and presented myself to 43 Squadron to be met by blank faces. Apparently they hadn't received the memo. Not to worry, as soon as someone dug it out, I found myself doing a quick and dirty dual check, an instrument rating, and then I was let loose on the mighty beast again. A few more trips to brush away the cobwebs, and after a 2-year absence, I was back in the saddle. Launched off on the first of several exercise sorties, I returned, but on landing, the brake chute failed. That wasn't a big problem, but it usually meant hot brakes, and with a bit of a tailwind that day, very hot brakes. Again, not a problem, but the idea was to use the full length of the runway, keep your feet off the brakes as much as possible, and try to stay moving until they cooled down a bit. Sadly, the tower had other ideas, and with a blocked exit, I was stuck on the end of the runway. When I was eventually allowed to taxi, I opened up the 2 Rolls-Royce bays, but nothing happened. I gave it a bit more, and then a lot more. I was stuck, and once more I was stuck on the damn runway with welded brakes. Not an auspicious start, and a terrible place for the engineers to have to do a brake change. When I walked in to see raised eyebrows and a grumpy boss, I vowed to keep my nose clean, but on the very next sortie, motoring along at low level, chasing some inbound targets, my eyes were drawn inside the cockpit to a bright red caution light. All thoughts of finishing off a few more unfortunate bombers went out of my mind as I gazed at the legend written on the warning: fire. As calmly as I could, I told Ian, my nav, "Hey mate, we've got a left engine fire warning." I started the boldface items, those done by memory, and brought the left throttle back to idle, waiting the required 5 seconds, while Ian pulled out his emergency procedures checklist. The light remained on, glaring at me. Nothing for it now. I confirmed which engine it was, and then lifted the latch on the throttle and pulled it all the way back, turning off the high-pressure fuel cocks. The left engine wound down. Ian confirmed the next actions. RAT, extend, engine master off, eng bleed, circuit breakers, number 1 panel, 4C and 5C pull. Is the warning still on, he asked. Yes, I replied. Well, we need to check for signs of fire. If we're on fire, we eject. If not, then land ASAP. While all this had been going on, I'd put out a quick call to our fighter controller. Mayday, mayday, mayday. Foxtrot, Charlie Tango 3-5, engine fire. Wait. We had been on our own, and our targets had by now streaked away, so no good asking them for help. Ian craned his neck to peer as far back as he could, and I stared intently into the mirrors. We look okay, he said, and all I could see was the faint black exhaust of our remaining engine. Yep, it looks good. How our controller had contained himself, I'm not sure, but he'd been disciplined enough not to interrupt. But now, once I called him again, the floodgates opened. Squawk 7700, Vector 275 for Lucas. Emergency services are on standby. What's your situation? Well, we had 50 miles to go, and on one engine, so we weren't breaking any speed limits. If I needed to, I could jettison the tanks, but they were empty, so the Phantom was performing pretty well. It was going to take a while to get home, and in the meantime another F4 was vectored onto our wing to give us a look over. He disappeared underneath and popped up on the other side. Everything looked pretty normal, he said, but I'll hang around till you get down. This was a welcome offer, as the North Sea could be a cold place. Having someone with us to mark our position if fire appeared and we jumped out would be great. The miles ticked down, and still the fire warning remained, but I was getting suspicious of it now. The heat from an engine fire should have dissipated by now, and after a good visual inspection it was probable that the warning was spurious, but there was no point in standing anything down as we were almost home. Ian had flipped a card 37 to remind me of the single-engine landing procedures. RAT extend, well, it was already out. Appropriate generator switch off, speed less than 350 knots, hydraulic gauges monitor, gear and flaps extend at a safe height with military power on the good engine. Overrun cable be prepared to use. Note with PC1 failed, it was. The pitch stability augmentation system is inoperative with no pitch aug off caption. Before approach, RAT confirm ramps to override, calculate decision height, Well, it was good weather and we were light, so no extra allowance on our decision height was needed. Ian also briefed the overshoot, max reheat without delay or control with rudder, landing gear up without delay, maintaining angle of attack of 17 units. Once on finals, we flew the required long straighten approach, trimming the slip ball to the centre, selecting half flap and not exceeding 17 units angle of attack until we reached the threshold. As I thumped the Phantom in for our usual unflared landing and pulled the brake chute, we were chased down the runway by a couple of fire trucks, a doctor's car, an ambulance and a bunch of engineers. As we came to a halt, we were soon surrounded by disappointed firemen in shiny silver suits. I would have been happy to taxi in, but our chaps already had a tow bar attached, so we shut down and were ignominiously dragged to a parking spot in front of the squadron. As we had suspected, it turned out the fire warning had been brought on by a fault in the fire detection wire that surrounded the engine, but we couldn't have been sure of that at the time. I flew several more times, but after a couple of weeks of fun back with my old squadron, they sent me packing back to Valley. I'm sure the boss was glad to see me go. I'd been far too much trouble for his liking.
Well, I can understand that.
Yeah, absolutely. And I must apologise to Liz because there was an overlay I neglected to put there, and because it's slightly amusing, I thought this was a photograph taken during a course graduation. So that's a mixture of instructors and students all having a suitably uproarious night.
Yeah.
By the way, there is an American in the middle of that picture. I just thought I'd let you know in case you thought we were all like that.
Okay. Whose fanny are we looking at there?
I'm afraid I can't possibly.
Okay. Just wondering. I think
it's
I know.
just that you won't find my face anywhere else in the picture.
I know. I didn't see it. All right. Well, what do they say? TMI or T?
Too much information. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, they were. That was a good course. Some courses were very quiet and mousy. Others were good fun and knew how to enjoy themselves after a hard day's work. So that was one particularly good course. That one, we enjoyed that.
Wow. These logbook memories are so much fun, and it makes me realize what an amazing career you had in the military.
I was a lucky chap. No doubt about it.
Oh, that's great. All right. Well, I think that we can continue moving on and knock out some more feedback. Pardon me? Keep it on? Keep it on. All right. We'll just go in order then on number 7. I'm pretty sure I have the overlay on this one, Liz. Chet says he has an RAF question. Yes, what did you say? Okay, great. Dear experts, I'm attaching a picture I recently saw in a news feed that was on my computer. This caption led me to a couple of questions. Which branch of the RAF does the U.S. Air Force belong to? Wait. I
good question.
So the picture here is from Newsweek, and it's the headline or the caption is Russian fighter jet intercepts UK aircraft over Black Sea. Except the picture is the over-the-top view of U.S. Air Force 135. I don't know if it's a KC or an RC 135. Can't really tell from this angle. At least I can't. But it's clearly
it's a rivet joint.
Yeah, it's clearly a USAF airplane, not a Russian fighter, and not a UK aircraft. So it might have been, Liz. Maybe it was a U.S. Air Force jet based in the UK.
No, it wasn't. It was a Royal Air Force rivet joint.
Oh, okay. with USAF marking?
The RAF required some rivet joints, which we have operated out of RAF Waddington. They're flying with 51 Squadron and 54 Squadron. You know, it's the same sort of thing as your aircraft, except that they operated by the Royal Air Force in Royal Air Force colours, but doing a very similar job, basically filling in for United States Air Force aircraft that you know, would perform this role. But you know, you guys are busy, so where possible, being a fully committed NATO nation, we you know, fly them instead.
What Liz is saying, well, it's not in RAF colors, but I guess it's just the U.S. Air Force.
That picture is, and they've got the wrong picture. I've got a.
Okay.
Can I share this picture?
Sure. Well, I guess the point is, I guess that that Chet was making is the fact that once again the journalists got it wrong.
That's exactly right. So
Anyway.
if I try and go share screen and is it Chrome?
You just
tab?
have to figure out what window
There
or
we
whatever.
go. There it is.
And now you have to hit the on the. I don't know why they've changed that. It used to be you just immediately see it on the screen, but here I'll add to the stream. There you go.
Could you?
Yeah. Okay. Rivet joint. So when you said rivet joint, I didn't have any idea what you were talking about. I didn't realize that was the name that they have given to the 135.
It's that particular kind of electronic information gathering aircraft. So I can't.
Why do they call it rivet joint? What's the? I don't understand.
That's the United States Air Force name for it, and I suspect it's its role. It's the classification code
radar
word.
jamming or something.
It could probably do that role, but it's more likely to be intelligence gathering. So it's sort of the sneaky, peeky, have a look at the Russians and get the frequencies of all their radars and all that kind of stuff, and monitor their communications, etc. So that's a Royal Air Force one right there.
Okay. All right. Still don't understand the significance of the name rivet joint.
No, I think it's just a random name for the mission. It's a code word for the mission they perform, I suspect.
Wow. Well, you know, so I know so little, and so little time. Right.
There you go.
Okay. Liz is telling me we have about a half an hour remaining, so we need to push on. Oh, anyway, Chet was saying, could this really be part of Virgin Black Sea, British Airways? My first thought was Ryanair, but the jet in the photo appears to be too luxurious. Anyway, I figure Captain Nick can identify this UK aircraft. My fingers are crossed. Thanks. And he did. And he is capable. So there you go. Thanks, Chet. Greg sent this in. Weather forecasting for Air Force One from foxweather.com. I found this article fascinating. There is even a little paragraph about forecasting flight levels to avoid contrails forming. And again, this is from Greg Peterson, our big-ass fan up in Lexington. Let's see. The article title, Forecasting for a President. It's no ordinary pilot brief for Air Force One. And U.S. Air Force meteorologists need to look out for more than just clouds and storms along a president's flight path. And I need to peek over here to see if we have an overlay of the weather forecaster in full military gear. We'll see if Liz will pop that up for me. All right, no problem. And just letting you know that I cannot see the window, so you'll have to let me know when you have it up there and what you're looking at. Anyway, Alberto Romero, veteran meteorologist, from forecasting the weather during operations in Afghanistan to ensuring safe skies for Air Force One, Fox 4, Dallas-Fort Worth meteorologist and Air Force veteran Alberto Romero has done his part to keep Americans safe, both at home and abroad. Okay, got him now? All right. There he is. There's Alberto Romero.
You know, it looks like he's got half a weather station attached to his helmet.
It does. I guess that must be some kind of a camera over there over his goggles on his helmet. Anyway.
I love it. I don't know what that is on his
Or maybe a windsock. Yeah, I don't know.
I'm going to say an anemometer, but
an anemometer on top of his head. That's a real weather geek. All right. Yeah, so I'm not going to read the entire article, but we thought it was interesting. There's also a picture of U.S. Air Force One, and what else do I have in there? I think that was just two of those pictures from that article. So anyway, if you're interested in learning about how meteorologists forecast weather for Air Force One, check out this article. And again, this is from foxweather.com.
I must admit, we every morning that I flew operationally with the Air Force, we would get a full Met briefing from a Met man, which included the levels at which we could expect semi-permanent and permanent trails. So knowing those levels, if we had to go through them and we didn't want to leave a big contrail, we would try and do so vertically. So we would we'd accelerate and then pop up vertically through them, just to leave a little short squirt of white contrail, and then get above them as quickly as possible. And we used to use the op brevity code when you saw someone trailing footprint. So you didn't, obviously what was tactically very poor to dump a trail. Because it gave the enemy way too much information. So we try to avoid it as much as possible.
I never had to worry about that in my Air Force career.
Possibly not, no.
Yeah, well, interesting. Well, looks like Dr. Steph is back with us in voice only.
All right.
Yeah, can you hear me okay?
We can. Excellent.
Yeah, hi, Steph.
Yeah, hey.
How was the run?
Yeah, no, it was really good. Yeah, it's kind of a, COVID and all, kind of an odd thing. They did have a mass start at 6 o'clock, but they're allowing people to show up anytime between 6 and 6:30 to start the race. So it's kind of like wait and see as to how you placed. You have to wait for everyone to finish the course based on when they started. So as of right now, 9th overall female and first age group. So
ooh,
oh, excellent!
Wow.
30 minutes and 4 seconds for the 5K, and it's single track bike.
And that's
trails.
after a couple of beers.
After 2 beers in the dark, headlamp only. I didn't fall, didn't hurt myself. No one
Describe
else
the course.
Hilly, single track, so very narrow, and all of the trails are covered in leaves right now. So you can't really see all the obstacles like the tree roots and the rocks and things that you have to step over and avoid. It's fun. I've done this particular race in the dark. It's always this second weekend of November. Probably 3 or 4 times now. It's one of my favorites. It's a lot.
Wow, it sounds prime territory for turning an ankle.
It is. It is. I definitely took at least 1 or 2 funny steps, but I'm all good. You have to just kind of know that it's going to happen, and just when it happens, you go with it, so you don't hurt yourself. But,
I can't think of anything safer than to run in the dark as fast as you can on a bike trail covered with leaves. Way to go,
with a bunch of people around you.
Yeah, that too.
Yeah, elbowing you. And
yeah. We did have to hold at the start so that the emergency medical services personnel could position themselves on the course. Like they set the first wave off, and then they held us up for a minute so that they could get out there and be ready just in case. But as far as I know, everyone is good so far.
Excellent. Well, that's great news.
Yeah. That's good news.
It was fun. So
well done.
Congratulations. Sounds like you did a really good time.
Yeah, I'll have to head back over there in about half an hour to see if I collect a prize, if I won one or not.
Well, I can't wait to see the picture of you with yet another medal. Fantastic.
Yeah, I know. Yet another. Well, actually, I don't know that they're giving out medals. I think so. This particular organizer of races, they always have either like water bottles or a gift certificate to the gift shop or other actual prizes in place of medals.
Well, hopefully they'll give you a glass of beer.
That would be nice. I think they're available for purchase at some overinflated cost, which I've already had 2 of them, so I'm good for the moment.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Well done. Is it warm enough?
It's 46 degrees Fahrenheit, so that's perfect for being out on the trails.
Excellent.
You can't see me at the
Good
moment,
job.
but I'm wearing, I've got a small beanie hat, like very lightweight one, and little puffy vest over my lightweight long sleeve and long pants.
And any wolves around there?
Wolves?
Yeah.
Or
Okay.
maybe black bears?
No.
Maybe. Hey,
Well,
wait,
you'd
This
probably
is
be
the
too
wilderness,
fast.
just barely outside of Charlotte, so not a whole lot of.
the hat you're talking about could that be the same hat that we were having a discussion about on the last
It is
show?
a different hat.
Oh, okay.
But that was a hat. It was not
Okay.
a water bladder. And I did send. I know you guys were talking about it. It's actually a special edition Dunkin' Donuts hat that is very much a thing at the start of the New York City Marathon. So when you're waiting to start the New York City Marathon, Dunkin' Donuts is one of the sponsors, and they have coffee and donuts. But they also make a special edition hat for all of the runners each year with the year embroidered on it. And so most people collect one at the start and at least wear it for a little while because it's usually kind of cold. It's always pink and orange like that. Always kind of the same design. But this year it had, because the race was the 50th anniversary of the New York City Marathon, they had the special 50th.
Yeah, I thought it looked very
on it.
smart, and I thought it was classic that a company that produced donuts was sponsoring a race. I thought that was great.
It's perfect for marathon runners. We're like, yeah, we want coffee and donuts before we run. That's great.
Brilliant. Love it.
And that has nothing to do with aviation, but I want to answer that, clear up that mystery for you.
Well, it's not just aviation we do here.
I know. So.
Mostly.
But speaking
Okay.
of, should we tackle some more? I have no idea where you guys are in the feedback.
Well, we're going to loop on back to the feedback item that you wanted to cover. But right now, I'm trying to... Yeah, you're right, Liz. I did not apparently put that overlay in. So let me see if I can find it and make sure that I have it. And if not, then I can share the window. But I'd rather do it the overlay method. And I'm just looking through all this long list of items in the overlays folder, and I don't think I'm seeing it. So, okay, let me do it this way then. Fix it in post.
In the meantime, would you like me to read the article?
Yes, please. I would love for you to do
So
that.
here you go, Steph.
Sure.
For you to comment on. Skydiving outfit sets record at Fort Morgan Airport. 10 skydivers joined in head-up formation. What's a head-up formation for a start?
So for a start, let's go to skydiving basics. When people start learning how to skydive or to jump, they're doing so in a belly-to-earth orientation because that's very stable. So that's just what it sounds like. Your belly is facing towards the earth, and your arms and legs are somewhat outstretched, and it provides a good stable platform. There are certainly many other ways to fly or fall through the air. Head up is one of those. So that's, again, kind of what it sounds like. Your feet are pointing down towards the earth and your head is up towards the sky. And it's
Excellent.
Certainly more advanced flying than belly to earth, and takes a lot of work to be able to do well, and then a lot more work to be able to do in proximity to other people safely and in a coordinated fashion.
Okay, so 10 skydivers from Orange Skies dropped from Fort Morgan Municipal Airport on Friday the 8th of October, setting the Colorado head-up formation record, according to a press release from Orange Skies Freefall Center. The whole jump sequence was filmed by skydive videographer Leyland Ploisel and can be viewed on the Orange Skies Freefall Center Facebook page. Orange Skies has been operating at Fort Morgan since 2019 and offers all sorts of different types of jumping, as well as training, world-class training for skydiving competitions. This is the first record set by Orange Skies crew, but we don't expect it will be their last, said Orange Skies drop zone manager Shea Curtis. If you want to watch skydivers landing their parachutes, anyone's free to visit their facility. That sounds good. So there they go. It doesn't seem to be a huge formation. It looks
So
that's
10
one.
jumpers. That's 10 jumpers, and I am not a very good or very skilled head up jumper. I am in the let's say the beginning stages of working on and improving those skills. And can you all hear me okay?
Yeah.
It got suddenly very quiet for me in my ear. I don't know. I had some. Anyway, it takes a lot of work, a lot of practice to be able to come together and do that safely. The way these, so the USPA is the one that the United States Parachute Association is the one that judges and validates these various state and national records for numbers of jumpers that come together in various formations: head up, head down, belly, big way. There's all kinds of different records that are out there to be set and can be improved upon. This being one of them. This takes a lot of skill. They're making it look very easy in the one picture there. But if you watch video of all of these things coming together and a lot of the practice jumps that happen to make this happen, you get a much better appreciation of the amount of a lot of hard work, a lot of frustration, a lot of excitement when it all comes together and goes well. And I responded to Vernon because his timing with this email was pretty interesting, because speaking of records, there were a group of ladies at our drop zone, not me, but a group of very experienced female skydivers who just set the national record for a women's only head up formation, and that was with 9 jumpers.
Oh,
so
all right.
Women only 9 jumpers, national record.
So I'm guessing your stability is
very different.
Compromised.
Yes, yes. You're presenting a lot less surface area towards the relative wind, so it takes a lot more to stay stable in that particular orientation.
Okay. Very cool.
Wow, that's excellent.
So what I said to Vernon was, I love seeing these records being set and broken. It takes a lot of work and practice to get a group of jumpers to be able to fly together heads up. I told them about the record that was set at our drop zone right around the same time as this. And I basically said, I'm very lucky to be surrounded by such high caliber jumpers and mentors.
Looks good, doesn't it?
It's good stuff. It's a lot of fun, a lot of hard work, and a lot of reward when it comes together well.
Excellent.
Very cool.
Nicely done.
Yes. All right.
Well, Tim Van Ram had a question. He said, as the jumpers approach the airport, my guess is that this photo there in the downwind portion. No, you don't really want to be downwind there. But yeah, before they set up to fly back to the airport, they're going to return to belly to earth, break away from each other, be a safe distance away, and then they'll fly towards their holding area and then start basically the same as you would flying a downwind base and final leg towards the target landing area.
All right.
Excellent.
Very good. Well, thanks, Steph.
Just one last question, Steph. How fast do you fall when you're head up compared with
a lot faster than when you're belly to earth?
Yeah.
I'd have to go back. I'm not sure. I'm not sure I should quote so belly to earth is typically around 120 miles per hour, depending on the jumper, and anything that is not belly to earth is significantly faster.
Interesting.
Isn't there like a speed, no matter what position you're in, that you can, like a maximum that you can reach? Terminal velocity, I think they call it. Thank you, Liz.
Yeah. So there's a lot of things that go into that. You can change that based on your. So if you were in a vacuum, yes. Mm-hmm. But on Earth, we're not in a vacuum. So a lot of factors play into that, including, how much surface area you're presenting to the relative wind, you have drag that goes into that as well.
Oh, so vacuuming, would this be like extreme vacuuming then? Like extreme ironing?
Yes, like extreme ironing.
Oh, okay. I got it.
Yeah. We have to wait for Rick to be back so we can talk. We can ask him if he's ever been involved in the Extreme Ironing World Championships, because apparently that's a thing. I just found this out and I was amazed to know that that's a thing.
Oh, you're a latecomer, Steph. We've been talking about extreme ironing for quite some time. Yeah.
But the World Championships?
Yeah. I think so.
Well, there's Rick. He's
were
trying
you
to get through the preliminaries.
Ironing like on top of a mountain?
Yeah, yeah. We've been showing some pictures like that. It's just kind of get with the show here, Steph.
I'm sorry.
You need to show up more often.
I need to be present more often.
I'm sorry. No, just kidding. We don't want to stress you out. All right.
No, not stressed. All good.
Number 9. Here we go. This is from Texas Ann Lashok from Remembrance Day. He said, I'd been listening to APG 496 with the plain tale about the poppies, and later that day I saw this pop up on my feed on YouTube. Pun intended. And there's a picture, an overlay. Are we looking at that right now?
Yeah.
Okay. Yep. For those limited to audio, This is a field of poppies at dusk with a flight of Lancasters over the horizon in the distance. This comes from the channel The Operations Room, which has videos that cover various military actions, mostly from the 20th century to present. Many of them cover air campaigns and so are worth checking out. My personal favorite is their video on the first day of Desert Storm, which has aircraft buzzing around the desert like a swarm of bees. In any case, I wanted to share that. Hope you have a good upcoming Thanksgiving, or had one, depending on when you get to this. This is the Texas and LaShock signing off. Well, I mean, the Canadians had it, toward the beginning of the month, right?
It's like weeks ago. Yeah. Liz should know.
Oh, way. Long time ago. Second Monday of October.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're about to celebrate the U.S. Thanksgiving next week, Thursday. What'd you say, Liz? You like to spread your turkeys out. Well, that sounds kind of personal, actually. Okay. Is that like man spreading? Turkey spreading?
A butterfly turkey, yes.
Okay.
I think you need a big oven for one of those.
Okay, 11. Okay, 11 and 15. Okay, that's the call from the control room. All right, number 11, feedback from Robert.
Robert E. coli?
Robert,
Is that
I
your
just
real
noticed
name?
that. I don't think so.
Robert.
Robert E. coli. CEO.
Very good. I've heard of Robert E. Lee,
Thrombier?
but not Robert E. coli.
What's Thrombier or Thrombier? I'm not sure how that's pronounced either. He's the CEO, though, apparently, Robert E. coli. Mr. Coli, we like to call him.
Thrombier.
He says, "Hi, Nick." Oh, this is for you, Nick.
Oh, damn.
Okay.
My underlings tell me you appreciate fine art that explores the depths of the mind. See below for when you find yourself missing your old job. Ah! Ow! Ow, ow.
Yeah.
I was very lucky, really, wasn't I, when I retired. I didn't have to go through any of that. So,
yeah.
I mean, the worst thing that used to happen during SARS and various other things was we used to have to walk in front of thermal cameras to see whether if we had a high temperature or not, but we never had to do that stuff.
Well, I love the letters there, following or living the, and then the D is kind of
Living
erased
the
a little bit. Living the ream, and then the
I
tap,
get the-
tap, tap. You can see the thing
In
coming
the back
out
of
his
the
head.
brain. Yeah.
That's
looks
great.
very uncomfortable.
Yes.
Yes, I
it
think
does.
Robert E. coli is quite the joker. His thrombier. I'm thinking he's making fun of DVTs also there.
Oh.
Maybe
And the
not.
fact that it's
Maybe
been
I'm so-
sent from his minion's telephone. I thought that was another good one.
Very, very clever. All right. Well, thank you, Robert E. coli or Mr. E. coli. All right. And then 15, you said, Liz? Okay. Oh, boy. Do we have to do this one?
Apparently.
Okay. Is it Javon?
Javon?
Javon. He's coming to Atlanta. He said, "Looking forward to seeing you guys at the 500th. Secured me a runway view room. Awesome." All right. Well, he says, found a video of what happens every Christmas. Captain Jeff and his brother get together. And just to be clear, I don't have a brother, but okay. So, brother in arms, perhaps. So I'm going to quickly share this video, and you're going to really be impressed with my dance moves on this one, I think. Yeah. Wait for it. Here we go. I love the guys in the background too. They start getting into it.
I had no idea you were so good at dancing.
Well, yeah, there are a lot of.
Well, I'm not absolutely certain it's dancing.
Listen, it's something that I can't do, so I'm going to call it dancing.
Oh, you can't
I
dance?
think he's trying to run a 5K, but not making much progress.
All right, I haven't watched the whole thing here. How much more of this do we have?
This goes on for like.
Nice.
No, I have no idea.
Okay, so I should probably stop at some point. Oh, nice move.
I think they've made a few mistakes.
Yeah, I think they
A
messed
little
that
bit,
one up.
yeah. This is a very long, elaborate routine, and they're not exactly like.
Yeah, that's not bad.
I was
I worked a
impressed.
long time and I practiced quite a
Yeah.
lot on that one.
Absolutely. Who was the bald guy then, Jeff?
My brother.
His brother.
Yeah, okay.
It's
Your
Mike
brother,
Carroll's, no.
what did you just call him, Baldy, all his life?
Yeah, he was bald from the day he was born until the day, well, I don't know.
Till the day you shot him.
Yeah, well, we're going to talk about that. Okay, that's why I never mentioned I have a brother.
Oh, fair enough. Well, you don't anymore, so...
Oh, yeah, we should do that. Oh, you know what I do want to do is number 14, because this is kind of a little bit time sensitive. Brian, Pasadena Brian, or PTU, not PTUK, Airplane Geeks.
Airplane Geeks.
Brian Coleman sent this in, and he has a question. It's audio feedback, and... Oh, wait a minute. Hang on. No, I don't want to do that. I'm going to do that one on the next show. It's about the plane tags. Which number is that, Liz? Come on. I know it's here somewhere.
I don't
13?
see it.
Yeah, it's 13. Okay.
Oh, there it is. Yep.
I guess a couple of folks sent in this about Mad Dogs being turned into luggage tags from this company called Plain Tags, not Plain Tails, Plain Tags. And let's see. Anywho, thanks. Let's see. Just saw this and thought it may or may not be of interest. I'm not affiliated in any way with this company, just interested if you flew these tail numbers and if there were any characteristics you remember about them. Maybe kind of a eulogy. Well, they all pretty much flew the same. I mean, some had a little bit different characteristics, but I don't recall exactly. It's not like I looked at the tail number and went, oh yeah, that's the one that has like the roll rate's not very good, or it's a really snappy. Nah, it's just, they're pretty much, another day at the office kind of. But yes, I did fly these tail numbers. Let's see. Well, I think I only made an overlay of one of them, and once you get that one, throw that one. That's the MD-88 one, but there's a picture of an MD-88 and an MD-90. One in both of those tail numbers. I flew all of them because, when you fly an airplane for 18 years, it's a good chance.
Yes, I was going to say, it
Nope,
would have been
never flew that
unusual
one.
if, unusual if you missed
I didn't
one.
like that one, so I turned it down.
So there's the MD-88 tag from Plane Tag from Genuine Skin, number 504 of 5,000, tail number 982DL. And that's from, of course I didn't fly this. This is a different airline. This is Delta's.
No.
MD-88.
Where's Acme's one?
Yeah, I don't know. So anyway.
Coming soon.
Coming soon, of course. Anywho, thanks to you all for the great show. Been listening since the mid-200s. Ooh, wow. Definitely have the syndrome. Keeps me up and awake, sitting in sometimes endless traffic. Yes, even the rickets segments. Yeah, you could fall asleep. You got to be careful if you're listening during those segments. Anyway, it says Tailwinds, Alpha Yankee under the Palm Tree Bravo. That's another show. Yeah, I'm thinking we don't do that here. This is Anders Yarbrough from Los Angeles. And then coincidentally, I received some email from Brian. Now we're going to talk about Brian. And I'm going to see if I can find the email exchange that he and I had, and should be very...
while you're finding that, Jeff, Brian wrote to me and said he was going to be coming to the UK early next year. Mm-hmm. And did he want me, did I want him, to bring my bowling balls that I had left.
He said something about Nick's balls.
The Pasadena Bowling Club, which I thought was a very kind offer.
Yeah.
No, it's all right, Brian. Don't worry. I flogged him to an unsuspecting American.
Well, honestly, I would rather not see Nick's balls. Cowboy bowling, yeah.
No, they're very
I'm
large
going
and
to stay out of this
impressive.
conversation.
I'm sure they are, Nick. I'm sure they are. And anyway, we're going to continue with this from Brian Coleman. He says, "Hi, Jeff. Hope all is well. I attended the first annual Plane Tags Festival last night, and the owner, Dave, gave me a very special plane tag to give to you for all the hard work you do on the Airline Pilot Guys show." And then he gave me a link to my own website. Thank you, Brian.
He just wanted to make sure that you knew what your website was.
Yeah, I am getting kind of old, so, understandably. Thank you for the help. He says, "Now you and I both know you don't do any hard work on the show, but I still thought it was really nice of him to think of you and gift you something." Yeah, we'll talk later, Brian. And then he was asking me about, where to send them and all that kind of stuff. And then he also included in this conversation Dave, the guy, the owner of this company, Plane Tags. And he said, let's see, "We hope you enjoy the gift when you receive it. Sorry to ruin the surprise, but it's our new Delta Airlines MD-88. Wait a minute, I got to expand this so I can read it. Where the heck did it go? Our new Delta Airlines MD-88 plane tags, authentic skin luggage tags made from the aircraft. Our company, Moto Art, M-O-T-O-A-R-T, has been contracted to categorize Delta's retired fleet, and it's all for a good cause. 13% of every sale goes to the Delta Care Fund. Our first day in sales, we raised almost $10,000 with the MD-88s. Next up, we have the 757s in January. We also did a 747 puzzle for you guys for profit sharing a few years back, and I should have gotten a picture of that. But anyway, I'll have all this in the show notes. So again, the company is Moto Art. Now, I have to say, I screwed up when I gave Brian my new address up in the cabin in the woods. I gave him the wrong number, the wrong box number. And I was thinking, shouldn't have taken that long, because he even sent me a picture of the package and I didn't even recognize, looking at the address label, that it was the wrong number. So sorry, Brian. It came back to him, and then he sent it back on its way to me. Didn't get it in time to bring it with me on this trip, but I did thank Dave, and I told him I would mention his company on the show, and there is a special code that you all in the community can use if you want to go to the website Moto Art and order yourself up a tag. And I think I must have put that in the Evernote thing. Oh, here it is. That's a discount code.
Yeah, you got it.
It's
Go ahead.
Airplane Geek. It's all now here. It's all caps. I'm not sure if that makes a difference or not, but just to be safe, Airplane Geek, all in cap letters, no S at the end of it. So it's not Airplane Geeks, but just Airplane Geek. AIRPLANEGEEK. And it's a 20% discount code. So thank you so much, Dave, for doing that for us. That was
excellent.
Very nice.
Now, if they're tags and they come from an aircraft skin, shouldn't they be skin tags?
Yeah, Tim Van Rant
I don't know
says
if I'd
there's
want a
nothing like
skin
getting
tag.
skin tags.
Yeah, they're not always the most attractive thing, are they?
No,
Most
they're
sightly,
not.
yeah.
Yeah, unsightly.
See your dermatologist.
Well, I don't know how to segue into this, actually. I was thinking about saying something about unsightly. How about unsmelly? Yeah, let's do, which number is that, Liz? The 18. Okay, thank you. All right, we're jumping to 18 for our last feedback item. I know, we're over 2 hours or 3 hours, but deal with it. This is something
It's okay, I'll
that...
just leave in 2 minutes when I gotta go. But that's fine.
Oh, okay. Yeah, go ahead. Say goodbye if you want to.
That's good.
Okay. This is from RT, Radio, or Russian TV, I think, or I'm not sure what RT stands for. Anyway, RT.com. Russia I guess the entire country, launches perfume that smells like a fighter jet. And this is from the author of this article, Johnny Tickle.
Okay.
Russian performers have launched a fragrance in honor of the state-of-the-art fifth-generation Checkmate fighter jet, complete with notes of glass and metals. What does glass and metal smell like? I'm not sure. It was revealed on Tuesday at the 2021 Dubai Air Show. According to Rostec, a state-owned conglomerate that invests in defense and high-tech industry, the perfume was created specifically for the international premiere of Russia's new jet. Here's a quote from Rostec. The fragrance notes combine the scents of glass, natural leather, and metals used in the construction of the aircraft's fuselage, engines, and cockpit, noting that the performers used original samples from the plane in combination with light nuances of juniper, patchouli, and oak moss. The five main notes of the
sweat.
Yeah, that's kind of what I was envisioning. Nick.
And maybe burnt jet fuel, JP5 or something?
And a bit of stinky rubber.
Yeah, that's probably
leaking hydraulic fluid. Sparking electric ozone.
So I don't know where you can find this. I don't have a link here to how you can order your bottle of the Checkmate perfume. Oh, yeah, that's a good idea,
Probably
Liz.
on Amazon.
Liz is saying, Nick, you can get Julie a bottle of this for Christmas.
Oh, yeah, it would take her right back to when I was at my sweatiest and nastiest, coming home after a...
I remember these.
Oh,
so.
yeah. And I don't want to remember anymore.
In my smelly old flying suits.
Oh, my. Okay. Well, that's going to do it for our show this week. I know many of you are saying, thank goodness. And we're going to talk about quickly I need to go back and find that email from Brian to remember what the address is for our website. Here it is, airlinepilotguy.com. Check it out, where you can find information about the crew and the community calendar and the plane tales and the library and merchandise and ways to contact us, speech pipe, that kind of thing. All kinds of good stuff there on our site. Please check it out. We have podcasts on there too. But most of you are probably subscribed via your podcast client software, or maybe just watching the YouTube video. I don't know what the heck you're doing out there. But whatever it is, keep it up. And let's see. We also are on social media. And Steph, we're so glad that you're back. And tell us about the social needs.
Real quick, you can find us on Facebook, facebook.com/airlinepilotguy. We're also on Twitter. We're at APG Crew, and find our individual Twitter information pinned to the top of that page. You can also check out Nick's lovely artwork on Instagram. We're APG Crew. And if you really want the deep dive into the social medias, please check out Slack.
All right, we'll do that. And if you need to go, Steph, bye.
Yeah, I'm going to say cheers, y'all, and I'll catch up with you guys in just a little bit about next week. And I'll see the rest of y'all very soon. Love you.
Very good. Very good. All right, bye. All right, so let me see if Hillel made it to Houston. Let me see if I can find the fader
he
for
was
the.
there for a second.
Okay. Well, I hear him. Hillel, can you help me out with Slack? Slack?
Okay, but I'm dripping wet.
I know, we know the deal. Come on over here. Make sure the robe is securely fastened before you sit down over here. Let me move out of the way and let you tell us about Slack.
APG listeners, please join us on our Slack team. Slack is a communication, coordination, and sharing platform that works on your mobile, laptop, or browser. On Slack, we share news and ideas, we suggest episode and plain tales topics, we plan events and meetups. To get into the Slack team, please email me at slack@airlinepilotguy.com. That's SLACK, Sierra Lima Alpha Charlie Kilo @airlinepilotguy.com, or send me a tweet with your preferred email address to @Hillel, and I'll send you an invitation. That's Hillel, spelled Hotel India 11 Echo 1, and see you in Slack.
Thanks, Hillel. And okay, now go back over there. Put some pants on, please. Okay, put your pants on.
It's caught in my zipper, Jeff.
I'm sorry. Yeah, I think it happens. It happens. All right. And also, we want to say a big thank you, a big round of applause for our producer, director, my assistant, and the person that does 99% of the work on the show. And her name is Liz Piper. She's in Toronto, and we love her.
Absolutely. Well done, Liz. Thank you.
And yeah, that's it. One more show between this and the 500th episode, and we look forward to seeing you all. Check it out in the show notes if you want to get a room at the Renaissance Concourse Hotel.
Get a room.
Get a room. And until next time, wishing you all clear skies, unlimited visibility, and tailwinds. Take care, and God bless.
Bye, everybody.
Bye, everybody.
Did they hear you, Liz? I heard you.
I heard you.
I put myself back in audio.
Nice.
Audio wise.
Very good. Very good. Oh, I see. Yeah, you're not in Clean Feed anymore. Okay.
No, I turned myself off
How
there. So you're
clever
not
of
getting
you.
Stereo.
Okay.
Brilliantly.
Awesome.
Brilliant. Well done, guys.
Yeah.
And
All right.
Steph, who's not here anymore.
Yeah. Now, let me get back to the window where I can see everybody, or at least see Nick and me.
Yes.
Hey! Oh, there's Nick. Oh, that's not what I want to see anymore. Thank you very much. Now that I know who that belongs to. All right, chat room. Thanks again for hanging out with us. It's much appreciated. And now we have several ideas, I think.
Suggestions,
right?
I think. Yep.
Yeah. Do we need to solicit any more?
I don't know. I've got cowboy outfit. He grabbed my tail. But the one I'm liking is Acme Skin Tags.
Mm.
Oh, okay.
Oh no, I don't like that.
Yes,
I know what you're going to do.
afraid so.
It's going to be my face.
Yeah.
Okay.
With a horrible skin tag.
Can I go over my suggestions?
Yes,
Nick?
please.
Go
Please.
on then.
Okay, so we've got AvGeeks Anonymous instead of Alcoholics Anonymous. AvGeeks Anonymous. So we're all sitting in a meeting and getting up and saying, "Hi, my name is Jeff, and I'm an AvGeek," or whatever.
Right.
Okay,
It's a picture, not a movie.
Shut up, Nick.
Okay.
Let her continue.
Anyway, next one is any landing you can swim away from.
Oh, I do like that one. Yeah.
The next one is pre-race beer loading.
Oh yeah. Okay.
Okay.
And then
people are going to go, what?
Yes, this is courtesy
yeah.
of Micah. He had racing by moonlight or running by moonlight. I don't know if you want to.
Running
Yeah,
by
it's an
moonlight.
aviation show. Sorry, that doesn't work for me.
Yeah, but she's a pilot. Yeah.
That's all I got.
Thank you, Mike Kuipers. Always appreciated. Always great to see you with us in the live audience. And Larry Zola. So now I'm finally able to look and see who all is here in this fine audience. Larry Zola up in Boston, really close to KBOS, I believe. I don't know if are you still there, Larry? Like pretty close to the airport. Let's see. By the way, the merch looks great. Wonder if I order something when I make it time for Farnborough. Okay, just let everybody know the new merch with the new 500 logo is available in the APG store, which is airlinepilotguy.com/store, I think. And but if you're planning on attending, should I say that or not? 'Cause I don't want people ordering a certain item in the store if they're going to be attending the 500th. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, understood.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think. Should
was
I
nice
say
and
it?
cryptic.
Don't order the beer mugs if you're coming.
Thank you. Don't order a beer mug with the 500 logo if you're planning on being there at the live recording of episode 500, whether it's in the U.S. or in England. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
And just
It's a surprise. I'm not going to tell you what it is.
Yeah.
But
I looked at ordering one of the T-shirts, and it wasn't going to get there in time. The expected delivery date was outside the window, I'm afraid.
Yeah. Unfortunately, that company
just be a
that we
memento.
use,
It'd be a memento.
Yeah, it doesn't. Yeah, and we could probably put the design up on Redbubble too. Would that be a lot faster?
Almost certainly.
Okay.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, let me when I get some time. Well, you know what? If I can get the artwork to you, Nick,
yeah,
could you handle that? I think you have all the credentials for Redbubble.
I think I do. It was a while ago. I last
yeah, but if
went
not,
there.
I'll give them to you again if I can
Okay.
find them, because it's been a while since I've been on it as well.
All right.
Okay,
Yeah.
and then maybe
Fire it at
there's
me.
a chance that it can be had a little bit more quickly for you guys.
Armando, we'll just put 500 in duct tape.
Marker pen on his old APG. Yeah, that works.
I like it.
I like that.
Yeah.
Or duct
I
tape.
love the duct
that works
tape.
too.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I think that would be a classic, actually.
Would.
Yep.
It doesn't
Larry
launder
says he
very
can
well,
almost throw a stun it. Yeah, you need to take the duct tape off before you put it in the laundry. That's just a tip, a pro tip.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, thank you, everybody, for hanging out with us again. And you really help us make a fine show each and every week.
A silk purse out of a sow's ear.
A silk purse out of a sow's ear. Thank
Very
you,
good,
Liz.
yes.
And
Three little
I have a
piggies.
feeling that I'll have a skin tag that will look a lot like a sow's ear. All right. Well, with that, we're going to go ahead and shut this baby down. And we'll look forward to seeing you again next week, next episode. And not sure when that's going to be yet, because here in the U.S. it's Thanksgiving, but, you know, I'll probably be available. So I don't know. Maybe we'll do it on Thanksgiving. So we'll see. So until then, wishing you all clear skies, unlimited visibility, and tailwinds. Bye.
Bye, everybody.
All the best. Bye.